Life's a ride, so let's make it count. Cherish every moment, that's what it's about. Tune in together, we're building our groove. Every beat, every laugh, we're ready to move. A little laughter, some love, we're soaring high. Every single episode reaching for the sky. News on the airwaves, spreading good vibes. Friends together, watch how our spirits rise. Kick back, unwind, leave the troubles behind. This podcast is gold, a treasure you'll find. With every word, we'll light up your day. Join the conversation, let's laugh all the way. A little laughter, some love, we're soaring high. Every single episode reaching for the sky. News on the airwaves, spreading good vibes. Friends together, watch how our spirits rise. Kick back, unwind, leave your troubles behind. This podcast is gold, a treasure you'll find.
All right. Good morning, happy Saturday and weekend to everybody. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate y'all so very much. Welcome. Grab your coffee, come on in, grab a seat. I do believe Mama Bear should be joining me here shortly. I hope you're all having a great start to your day. Good afternoon. It is actually noon here. So, come on in, guys. Welcome back. Tomorrow's Easter. How about that? Yay. Yay. Let's see. Let me see here. Show. Right. Hope everybody's ready for Easter too. You know, I'm gonna be doing that stuff more today. I've been doing it for 3 days now. Welcome, Miss Stormy Jane. Hello and welcome back. Good to see you. Thank you to my blue crew for being here. Wilson Grand Communications, or should I say Jeffrey? Hello and welcome. Good to see you. Let's see. Seahawks fan, Miss Tandy's in the house. Good to have you here today. The Tomboy Charm flew on in with the bird. Welcome back to you, Tomboy. Egburn, Johnny Gobble's dead. Floozy Mama's in the house. Yay. Good to see you today. Moonlit Baby, welcome back. Great to see you. Great to have you here today. Let me see here. Show. What's up, Klein? Good to see you with Missing Black People, The Forgotten. Wonderful channel, wonderful person. Amazing stuff that Klein takes care of out there on a regular basis, trying to help find the missing in the Black communities, which does not get done just as bad as the indigenous situation. So great job, Klein. Always happy to have you here. Wonderful to see you again, my friend. Thank you for joining us today. We will be dropping that link for those of you that are not familiar with Klein's channel. You really should be. I'm going to drop that link so you guys can go check him out, please. And thank you. I appreciate that so very much. Please, on your way through that door, guys, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not done that yet. Hit the notification bell. And please share this out to everyone and let them know what we're doing. And don't forget to hop on over. Mama Bear's link is pinned in the top of the chat. And give her a like as well. And subscribe if you haven't over there. Please and thank you. I appreciate you all so very much. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Miss Becky Strider, welcome back. Good to see you today. Share this out to all your friends. Tell them to come hang out with the crew in the sauce over at the True Crime Cafe, guys. Please and thank you. Share it with the Easter Bunny if you want to. I'll talk to the Easter Bunny. We can hang out. Let's do it. Mr. Peter Cottontail himself. Come on. Thought I seen Brandy in here. Maybe I don't. Everybody leave me. Let me see. Show. Let me see here. Let's see. All right, all right. Oh, you were up late. I was up early this morning too, Tomboy. Hey, Miss Tandy, good to see ya. Seahawks band, Moonlit Baby. All you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, yep. We're gonna be looking at that, Stormy, for real. It's one of our topics today. 16 peeps in the house, 16 likes. Come on, y'all. Come on. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's see here. Scott Metalhead's in the house. Welcome back, brother. Good to have you here. I love all our peeps from over the pond. It's great to see so many of them in here too. It's absolutely amazing to me that we can be here, they can be there, and we're all connected. I love it. Brady B, the OG. What's happening, girlfriend? Good to see you today. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully they did, but who knows? You never know, Tandy. That's a scary situation. Little Red Riding Hood, welcome back. Good to have you here. I hope the big bad wolf didn't chase you in here. Great to see you, brother. Thank you for being here, Scott. Very much appreciated. And that goes for all of you awesome peeps. Amazing meatballs. Great to see you. I spy a Stormy. She spies a Dago. And of course, I'm so grateful I got to say the Dagburn, Johnny Gobbles, Dead Floozy Mama. I love it. I love it. I love it. Come on down, y'all. Come on down. Let's see. Mama Bear should be coming in here soon. Let me see where I was going to start at with you guys today. Actually, the thing that Stormy brought up or Tandy was talking about might be a good idea. Give me 1 minute here to start off with. It's a pretty wild situation. Derp, 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 derp. Where did it go? I just saw it. 1 minute. What the heck? Just a minute, guys. There it is. Um, just a minute. Just a minute. Just a second here. Here we go. As you guys know, I covered the Kimani Latigue's story, her case, of the place where they found her, in an abandoned house. Very sadly, there is somebody set it on fire. Phil, what's happening? What the F? Who spilled the Parmesan? Oh, never mind. It's just, oh, Jesus. Bonnie Bailey, my love. Wonderful to see you, my dear. Thank you for being here this morning. I hope you're having a great start to your day. And God bless. Wonderful to have you here, Miss Bonnie. All right, guys, let's check this out. Oh, Alicia's here. I just now seen you, Alicia. You just now popped up. But hello and good morning, dear. Wonderful to have you here. And you know I would say hi to you if I seen you, so don't even go there. Oh, absolutely, Miss Bonnie. You know I love you 1,000,001%. So thank you so much for being here. Again, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're feeling okay. Always praying for you, my dear. Always praying for you. That is awesome to hear, Miss. Good morning, Mama Bear.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So am I. How are you?
Good.
Good. I am too.
That's great.
So how are you? Okay, I'm done. She's gonna come through the computer in a minute. Are you having a good day so far? She left. Are you are you having a good day so far?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Brandy, I always talk to you. You never hear me. Mama Bear can attest to that too. I always say hi and you never hear me. Hello, Miss Tandy. I said hello to you, and she's gonna leave your See? Don't be telling me stuff like that. I'm already paranoid as it is. Let's see here. Did you see this morning about the house burning down?
No.
The Kimani Latigue was found.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really bad, really sad. I hope they got everything they needed out of the house, like evidence-wise. But
first, we start.
I'll quiet down. You can watch this.
Right now with breaking news we first brought you at 9. The home where 13-year-old Kimani Latigue's body was found has now been demolished. We have live pictures for you right now. The house is now completely torn down. Crews were called to this home on Miami Street earlier this morning for a fire. Officials told us it was a defensive fire since the structure is marked as code red. That means crews did not enter the building to fight the flames because it was unstable and a hazard to crews. Kimani's body was found here on March 24th, days after she was reported missing. Her father, Darnell Jones Ogletree, is accused of killing her. According to court documents, he confessed to dragging Kimani to that abandoned home there on.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon, ladies. Serfina, wonderful to have you here. Beautiful dog. Thank you for joining us.
Miami Street and killing her there. The city of Toledo did plan to demolish the house, but the timeline had been undetermined because of the ongoing investigation. But as you can see now, after that fire this morning, an excavator came in and just completely took down the house.
Welcome, Eddie. Good to see you when made nut. Mikey's in the house with the last 24. Miss Paula, a beautiful morning to you, my dear. Wonderful to have you here. I hope you're having a great start to your day. All of you, thank you so much for joining us. And on we go.
Speeding up that demolition process and leaving rubble in its path. Darnell Jones Ogletree was in court yesterday, and he's being held on a $4 million bond, so he is still in custody at this time. Right now, we don't know the cause of the fire. We are still waiting on answers from Toledo Fire and Rescue, but as of right now, the home where Kimani's body was found has been completely demolished. We'll continue to keep you updated on air and online as we learn more.
All right. So there is that so far. That's kind of sad to me. Like I said, I hope they got everything they needed out of there. Otherwise, that is going to be a problem, a big problem. So, I wanted to jump in next to show you guys a little something about the FSU shooter. I don't know how many of you guys have followed that. I covered it like remotely when it first started. But I want to give you a little more details on that, if I could, real quick here. Bit of the press conference and some other information about this situation as to what was going on with that. So here we go. Again, thank you all for joining us today. I kind of think so too. Good God, I hate these things. Alicia, but I'm just hoping that there was nothing that they did need in there. You know what I mean? Just hoping. Right, all right.
Suspect at all? Any idea about motive?
The suspect invoked his rights not to speak to us.
The stepson of a sheriff's deputy who police say is the Florida State shooter is not talking to law enforcement. But we have learned a lot about Phoenix Eichner, including that allegedly was not always his name.
We're good.
Oh my gosh. What the hell?
Police say this week he killed 2 people and injured several others on the FSU campus. And just wait until I show you what classmates are saying about him. Why one says they're reportedly not surprised that this is the man who had allegedly become a school shooter. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. There is a lot to update you on the Florida State campus shooting investigation. First off, here's a picture of the suspect. Police say he opened fire near the Student Union on the Tallahassee campus just before noon on Thursday. His name is Phoenix Eichner. He is a 20-year-old FSU student and, in a shocking twist, the stepson of one of the Leon County Sheriff's deputies.
The shooter is 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, and he's the son of a Leon County Sheriff deputy. Our Deputy Eichner, has been with the Leon County Sheriff's Office for over 18 years. She has a tremendous job that she's done. Her service to this community has been exceptional. Unfortunately, her son had access to one of her weapons, and that was one of the weapons that was found at the scene. And we are continuing that investigation into how that weapon was used and what other weapons perhaps he may have had access to. The alleged shooter was also a long-standing member of the Leon County Sheriff's Office Citizen Advisory or Youth Advisory Council.
Here's his name on an LCSO press release from 2021 announcing members of a youth advisory council. That's described as a group that's supposed to be like a bridge between the law enforcement agency and young people in the community.
So Mikey's stating that I guess one of his classmates said that he was basically racist, I guess, which is not good. That's not cool. Thanks, Mike, for that info. I didn't know that. That is definitely not cool.
This is allegedly a picture of Phoenix's stepmom. She has served nearly 20 years as a Leon County deputy. Last year in March, she was named an employee of the month, but the sheriff says it was one of her guns used in the attack allegedly by her stepson.
This weapon was a weapon that the deputy previously used.
I wonder if part of his reason for doing it and using her weapon was to get to her somehow, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe he wasn't happy with her and he was doing it to spite her, maybe, per se. I don't know. I'm sure she's going to be questioned as to how he had access to her service weapon, too. That's a problem.
Absolutely.
Big time. Because that's bad enough. You know, kids can get the guns, regular guns, but a law enforcement officer's service weapon is a big problem. Yeah, Eddie agreed. She'll be scrutinized, held accountable for not securing her weapon and storing it properly. Agreed. And she probably should, to be honest with you, because, you know, you just don't know. As a law enforcement officer, that needs to be something that is important. But Alicia just made a really good point. He's not like a little child. And he does have the knowledge in a sense. So there's that. So that's another way to look at it too. Good, very good point, Alicia.
Yeah, it's a college kid. It's not
Right. He's
an
not
elementary kid.
exactly. So, you know, that's a huge point. So good point.
A lot of times, many agencies, mine included, when we transition to a new handgun, the officers are allowed to purchase the handgun they used prior. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but I believe that's the case here. This was a handgun that deputy used prior to them transitioning to a new handgun. And so it was her personal handgun.
She put on leave.
Okay, so it wasn't considered a service weapon anymore then. It was her own personal handgun. That's probably going to be a little different then as they look at it. Still a problem, but regardless, that might be a little easier on her. CZ, welcome. Happy Saturday to you. Great to see you. Happy day before Easter to all of you. And so hopefully they're not going to come down too hard on it. Again, I don't think she should be there needs to be accountability for keeping the weapon safe, okay, per se, but he is an adult legally and should know better, and it can't be all her fault is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was a retired service weapon. In turn, she purchased it personally for her own, to have it as her own. So therefore, it's not listed as a PD service weapon anymore. Yeah, it became a personal weapon. Thank you, Stormy. Guys, make sure to hop over if you have not yet to Mama Bear's side there. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. Hit the like button for her, please. She needs it so very much, and she really does appreciate it. And you'll make her smile, and that's always a good thing. Oh, you're okay, Moonlit. Take your time. No worries. No rush.
The sheriff would have to speak to that.
Phoenix is currently in the hospital. Police say when they confronted him, he wouldn't put his weapons down, so they shot him. As we said at the top, he's not cooperating with law enforcement. So at the time of this recording, he has not told them his alleged motive for this attack. But we went through dozens of pages of court documents, and we were able to learn a good amount about Phoenix Eichner's childhood, his family, and a custody battle that went on for years. We found in Leon County court records this image of Phoenix Eichner's biological mom. Her name is Anne Marie Erickson.
Okay. Hey, Jeff. Good to see you. SRBBBBB. Welcome back. I hope you had a great day yesterday. We missed you. It's great to see you today. Thank you that you're here. Oh, don't worry about being late. Oh, Lord. Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that. And I will be keeping her in my thoughts and prayers for sure. I hope everything works out. But I'm glad to see that too. You deserved it. You definitely deserved a break, and that's awesome.
Yay.
Good for you. Good for you. I bet you are exhausted. You was out all night last night, I think. Pretty late, weren't you? We're glad to have you back, though. I promise you that. I know we all missed you, so it's great to see you. Yes, ma'am.
Diego, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Just saying.
Oh, Lord, I did it again. Okay. I'm just going to be quiet and keep going.
Image was included in a document related to a 2020 probation violation related to her conviction of removing a minor from the state, which I'll talk about in a moment. This is a 2015 lawsuit that was filed by Phoenix's biological mom. Her name is Anne Marie Erickson. We went through those pages of court documents, and they detail a tumultuous divorce and custody battle involving the alleged shooter when they were young. The other name listed as a plaintiff you see there is Christian Gunner Erickson. It's been reported that the alleged shooter changed his name to Phoenix Eichner from Christian in 2020. That way he has a name associated with his biological dad's family, Christopher Eichner, who is married to the LCSO deputy that the sheriff named in the news conference yesterday. The shooter's biological mom claimed in the lawsuit that Phoenix was the victim of psychological and emotional abuse from the time that he was 11 years old. That suit demanded damages that would go into a college fund for the minor who would grow up to become the FSU school shooting suspect named Phoenix Eichner. According to Leon County court records, this case was eventually dismissed, but we also found this document that was filed in Leon County that shows in 2016, the shooter's mom was convicted of a felony charge of removing a minor from the state and failure to return a minor. Erickson spent 30 days in prison. She was put on 2 years probation. We found Erickson's Facebook page, and she posted this on that page back in 2023, quote, "Love being my son, Christian Gunner, parentheses, Phoenix mother." As far as who Phoenix Eichner was in the care on his dad's side, we see posts like this one on social media of him and other members of his family. And here's a graduation picture from high school that a family member still had public on Facebook. Phoenix's social media accounts were quickly taken down within minutes of the announcement this week of his arrest by the sheriff. This is what his Instagram profile looked like before it was deleted. The bio lists a Bible verse, Jeremiah 51:20, which reads, "You are my war club, my weapon for battle. With you I shatter nations, with you I destroy kingdoms." That is a verse that points to the consequences of people who go against God's will. Now, on the surface, someone who is the stepson of a longtime sheriff's deputy who was winning awards for Employee of the Month, someone who is active on a youth council that's supposed to be a leader in the community, it may seem like an unlikely person who would be accused of a deadly college campus shooting. But people who spent time with Eichner in class say it is very much the opposite. Many have said he reportedly had far-right and racist views. He would talk about conspiracy theories in class. USA Today talked to a classmate who said Eichner made it clear that he had guns. And the student went on to say, quote, "It's so sad and so shocking. Then to see it was him, I'm sadly not surprised." Eichner was reportedly quoted in an FSU student newspaper article in January of this year ahead of Donald Trump's inauguration in response to a campus protest against the then incoming president. He said, quote, "These people, the protesters against Trump, are usually pretty entertaining, usually not for good reasons. I think it's a little too late. He's already going to be inaugurated on January 20th, and there's not really much you can do unless you outright revolt, and I don't think anyone wants that. As this investigation is just getting started, we are starting to learn about the victims in this attack. This is 57-year-old Robert Morales. According to his LinkedIn, he worked in dining services at Florida State. His brother announced his death in a post on X. He wrote that Morales loved Florida State, his wife, and his daughter. According to the Miami Herald, Morales was the son of a Cuban-American CIA operative. This is a picture of Morales and his dad, according to his brother in that post on X. Neither of the people who lost their lives in yesterday's attack were students at FSU, but the sheriff said in the news conference that 5 people who were injured were still in the hospital, and there was one person who was also injured, but they were injured running away from the gunfire. Classes at Florida State are canceled through the rest of the week. Several buildings, including the student union, are closed off. They are active crime scenes. Here's a campus map that shows you where that student union is located on the north side of campus. Florida State is a massive state school. It's got roughly 45,000 students. Many of them were put into lockdown yesterday for multiple hours as police responded. Here's what one student saw and posted on social media.
What? I was on Okay.
FSU police are responding. Remain alert.
You also have to think of the parents and the horror that they lived through yesterday, waiting to hear from their students that they were okay. Here's what one mom said on TikTok.
I just got off the phone with my daughter, who was barricaded behind a door in the Department of Psychology building at FSU for 2 hours. Her and like 50 classmates were.
This is strange to me that so many of these younger kids, you know, at young ages are like lashing out in like political, religious ways. Like kids didn't used to think about things like this, worry about it, be involved in it. You know, these kids these age, I should say. He's not a child, but he's still young. And it's just, we've seen so much of that lately. It's crazy to me. By the way, here comes the storms again after last night. It's coming down pretty good. So if I disappear, that would be why. Okay, just giving you guys a heads up. I made it through last night, but we'll see what happens. It's coming down hard right now too. Wind's blowing and everything. So whoever sent it to me, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, off we go.
Let out by the SWAT team, and I have no idea. I have so many text messages and DMs and calls. I have no idea how many shooters there were. I have no idea how many.
That's actually a great point, Alicia, because a lot more people have gotten more involved in politics than they used to, and it's really become an issue. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. The voice of reason, Miss Alicia J, y'all. Thank you. Eddie says, I think I agree. Politics was never the foremost thought on our minds, but never. I didn't care. When I was 19, 20 years old, I didn't care. I was too worried about me you know. And at that time I had young children. I was just married, so my life was insane at that point. But yeah, I will talk politics a tiny bit with my kids so they understand what's going on in the world, but I don't give my opinion. See, that's kind of me too, because Caden came home one day and he starts complaining about certain things presidential wise. And I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? And where did you get this from? Listening to other people at school and different things said, and he started to configure a feeling about stuff. And I said, do you understand this, and then he was like, no. I said, sit down. And I said, this is what really is the deal. I said, you have the right to make your own decision on how you feel about things. Please do. I said, but I just want you to know factual information before you go forth with what you're thinking. And I didn't want him to get confused because he's already had, he already has issues with certain things. And he was completely backwards on what he was talking about, what he was thinking. He didn't understand what was being said. So I gotta wonder in some cases if that's part of the problem with some of these younger kids that are into this, if they don't really know the full truth about certain things, that they're just listening to rumors that are flying about this, that, and everything else, and they're making these forming these opinions based off of non-factual information. You know what I mean? So, and it does happen. It happens all the time. We see it. Right. Same thing Hayden did. And he's like, I don't know, this and that. He got into this whole Trump thing and this and that, and everything else. And I'm like, calm down. But that's the problem. A lot of parents don't inform their children about things. They don't, once our kids get to this age, the parenting doesn't stop, in my opinion. It goes on and on and on. My mother still parents me, and I'm 50 years old. I want her to. I'm still learning from her. You know what I mean? So that's what being a parent is, in my opinion. You don't just stop once they hit 18 and say, okay, you're on your own. Bye. No, you have to continuously do things. And they may not know. They need to know certain things about the government, the political stuff, so on and so forth, as bad as it is, so that they do understand what's going on. Then they can formulate and make their own opinions on things. But when they come out with no true factual information, making all these crazy accusations and saying things and stuff like this, maybe not knowing actual facts and truth behind things, that's kind of a problem, in my opinion. So anyway, great stuff. Again, Alicia, very good points. He did the same thing, that somebody didn't like him because he was trying to fit in with other kids that were saying, Trump for president, blah, blah, blah. And he had kids attack him because he said that. And he said, Dad, I really don't even know who he is, anything about him. So I explained to him certain things. And I said, from there, make your decision. And he really didn't. He's indifferent. You know what I mean? Just kind of like I was. So, yet he said to Alicia, that doesn't surprise me one bit. MSM and the education system faculty are pretty much activists. Very good point, bud. Hey, Phil, Alicia, I told my children, hold my children to the same standard as any adult. Disagree, fine, but bring the receipts and be ready for an adult conversation based on vetted fact. Bingo. Thank you, Phil. That's exactly what I'm saying. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I love your guys' input on this.
Victims, I'm just so overabundantly grateful that she's okay, and just praying so hard for any parent whose child isn't. I'm so sorry.
Florida State is scheduled to hold a vigil on Friday to honor the lives that were lost and the impact that this shooting is having on their community. Along with classes being canceled for the week, Florida State has canceled their home sporting events through the weekend. Joining us now to talk more about the investigation is former NYPD crime scene investigator and co-host of Crime Time with Duty, Ron Edwards.
Amen to that one, CZ. CZ says, I majored in, by the way, CZ is one of our amazing teachers that is part of this community. Majored in political science and went on to become a teacher. There is colossal amounts of propaganda out there. There is absolute colossal amounts. You ain't lying. People need to look at multiple sides, multiple platforms, and international platforms. Um, the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Amen, ma'am. Thank you so much for that input too. And God bless you for doing what you do.
Ed Wallace, always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thank you for being here. We've learned a good amount of information at this point about the suspect in this shooting. What stands out to you at this point?
Well, we need to do a whole lot of background investigations on the shooter. Okay, we have to establish his online presence, his social media presence, his electronic forensics need to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb. We have to understand his history of possible mental illness and any medications that he may have been on. Obviously, the shotgun. We have to do a background check on the shotgun. Whose shotgun was it? Did he purchase it? Is it his? We know that the handgun that he used was his mom's, and she was a deputy sheriff. And so apparently it wasn't secured enough for him not to have access to it. I'd like to know what triggered him, okay, to do this horrific crime. Then we have the crime scene itself. It appears that he rolled up on scene in some kind of orange SUV. And according to witness statements, he exited the vehicle with the shotgun, and he couldn't get the shotgun to work, ran back to the car and got the handgun, left the shotgun, and came back and started shooting. Now, 2 of our fatalities are not students at the university, and the others are. So a lot of this should be on film. There should be a lot of video and closed circuit TV security footage of the outside of these areas at the student union. So hopefully we'll have a lot of footage to look at. But again, we go back to the beginning. We need to do a deep dive into the week leading up to this and to see what his social media activity was, who he's talking to, any online posts, anything that he may have said or done online that may suggest that this was coming.
I noticed on his social media yesterday, because I was watching the news conference, and it was within probably 15 minutes where the sheriff announced his name. And if you searched Phoenix Eichner, it was on Instagram and Twitter. He was there, and then the social media presence erased, and it was gone. His profiles were no longer on those platforms. If someone were to delete them, maybe the social media companies took those profiles down. From a law enforcement standpoint, how do you go through? Are you able to get information from those platforms if the profiles are no longer public?
Yes, you should be able to get some history here. You go to the judge, you get a subpoena signed or a court order signed by the judge, and then serve it upon the social media companies. And they should be able to hand over everything that they have on file in the cloud and so forth for these accounts.
And when you look at classmates who have said he had what they perceived as extremist views when it came to several issues, who do you talk to as not only just the social media presence, but who else are you going to talk to as you try to put together a picture? Because he's not talking to police. So you're trying to figure out what could have motivated him to do something like this. And if you don't hear from him, how do you go about trying to get to what the motive could be?
So law enforcement needs to put out public messages that anybody who has been in contact with this individual and may have information concerning his motives, his beliefs that may have led to this attack, please contact us. We got to get that information out nationwide and possibly even internationally, as we've seen in other cases that you and I worked on with an international nexus.
Yeah. And it's just a shocking development is that his stepmom is a Leon County Sheriff's deputy. She's been a sheriff's deputy for 18 years. The sheriff spoke highly of her at this news conference yesterday. I'm sure she is in shock, as many parents are when they find out that their child has been accused of something like this. What's it like when you have to go and interview someone who is a member of law enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, in my career, I've had several cases involving crime scene investigations and either active or retired law enforcement. And it's very difficult, especially when it is apparent that there was criminality on the part of these law enforcement officials. And it's very difficult, you can simply.
Good morning, Miss Kaylee. Another amazing peep in this community from over the pond. Wonderful to see you today. I hope you're doing okay, Kaylee. It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining Mama Bear's side. We always appreciate. And guys, if you have not yet, please hop over and hit Mama Bear's like button, please, and thank you. Subscribe, notification bell if you have not. It's so very much appreciated. Thank you much. The link is pinned at the top of my chat. Thank you all. Thank you, SRB.
Sympathize to a certain degree, but in the end, she was responsible for safeguarding those weapons. Now, my wife and I are both retired New York City police detectives, first grade detectives, and we raised our family while we were detectives, and we've always.
That's something I highly agree with, whether it's good or bad. I remember being talking to one of my older children, history teacher. Okay, because all my other kids did amazing in school except for one of them. They were on National Honor Society and all that kind of stuff. And Mr. I can't remember his name, Serapina, I think. Anyway, he was a history teacher, and I asked him. I said, "Did they change?" Just out of curiosity, because he was there when I was there as a younger teacher. I said, "Did they change curriculum for different?" I said, we started talking about the math, how they changed it in history and all that, and he said, they didn't change things. He goes, but they extracted things from it that made them angry. A lot of the stuff about the concentration camps through the World War II and Hitler and the Nazism and all that kind of stuff. That's not a word, Nazism, Jesus. Nazis. They don't push that like that anymore. They don't explain that stuff anymore in history. They don't teach all that stuff. But at the same time, they'll teach things like what happened with, which is important, don't get me wrong, but they're lacking in one point where they're teaching things about like George Floyd and the Rodney King situation. That's not like, it's history and it's negative, okay? But when you're avoiding certain things like parts of the North and with the French and Indian War and things like that were always in the history books, and you're adding these things in, I just think there's something that needs to be seen there. Now, I don't know if it's curriculum per se or if it's specific teachers doing what they do, but that teacher told me that they don't push the World War II, the Nazi concentration camp stuff as much as they used to. When I was in school, Jesus, we had a history teacher that for a whole week we watched, which I don't know if it should have been done or not at our ages. We were like 15 or 16. We watched the movie Schindler's List. Okay. And it really opened my eyes to stuff I didn't know. I think, I'm not saying they should do it. I'm saying it was very interesting to have that, to see how it went down and things like that. It was crazy. Schindler's List. So, amazing movie, very sad, horrible, but I was 16 or 17, I'm sorry. Either way, it was still an amazing movie, very well done, and it explains the story in a really, really good way so that it's understood. They don't do stuff like that I understand, and they're not allowed to do stuff like that, I was told, because there's too much violence in it. But it's something that really happened, just like Rodney King and George Floyd. That's all violence, and they're teaching it to teach these kids, this is bad. So is that. You know what I mean? So it should be just as important, in my opinion. Phil said that is called indoctrination. Yes, thank you, Phil. I love when Phil comes out with the stuff that she says. But yeah, I mean, these things are important to our kids, for them to understand the realism and the life that we've all had and what's going on throughout history, how important it is, in my opinion. Not everybody may think that way, but I do. And I think it's important. He had no idea about a lot of what happened with Adolf Hitler and the Nazi prison camps and all that, and I would never tell him with his issues that he has when he was younger about it, but now that he's older, he's interested. He's like, really, this is crazy, Dad. I didn't know that this happened and that happened and blah, 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 blah. And why? You know, he's asking why. That's up to the schools, in my opinion, to give the kids the education of that historical stuff, in my opinion. And then we can answer the questions as parents that they have that are rough, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think about stuff like that, Mom Bear? It's very hard to watch, yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let my kids watch it. I'll say that, but
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go. Especially having a child with PTSD already, that is not one to.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I agree that they should, learn about that stuff. Because I know I had a conversation with the history teacher because they are getting ready to talk about World War II and the Holocaust and all of that. So,
so your school teach that?
The online does. I don't know if Brownsburg would have or not.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, and I agree with you. Like I said, certain kids that have certain issues and certain ages, maybe not, but there's ways that show. Like, I think it was my teacher's choice, not the curriculum choice, to show us that movie. But he was very, very. He had a relative that was involved in the prison camps and all that kind of stuff. So I think it took it personally, and it was very important to him to get that out there. Now, they don't get me wrong; they teach World War II here, but they don't go into a lot of that stuff. They just do a really soft, okay, we're done type thing.
Yeah, I don't know how much they'll go into it, being there's only 4, 5, 6 weeks or so left of school. So
yeah, right. And that's Alicia's got a good point. Only you know what your kids can handle. You can teach them about it without exposing them to things that's bingo. Very good point. Yes.
Yeah. And if they are going to show something like that, I think that they need to send a letter home, an email, or something to the parents to make them aware, or even a permission slip giving permission.
Yeah. Do you want the children to watch this or not? Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's a good point. There's ways that I would think to be able to teach it in a softer version without throwing so many dark details. Because I'll be honest, guys, I was kind of in shock after watching Schindler's List. I really was. I was just it was like culture shock. Like, whoa, wow. And there's a couple points where I got sensitive and emotional, and who wouldn't? That was a very sad movie, very hard to watch.
Yeah.
But it was a great, very well done, and it depicted it in an amazing way. So yeah. And CZ's right. It should be age appropriate. Agreed. Agreed. Teach the White Rose. There's some history and lives taken while you standing proudly in the face of execution. Yes. Another thing that they have backed off on a little bit, at least here, is the segregation and desegregation stuff that went on back in the 60s. And I remember going through that, and I was so wowed over it when I realized that racism was a real thing and it was really going on and things like that. They don't show that much anymore. I'm like, okay. I don't know if it's because of the violence that was involved in it or what, but I just think some of the way they've changed some of these things is a bit wild. So when do schools update history? They've been talking about the same semi-useless crap for years. Agreed, Mike. You ever talk Desert Storm? He did talk about Desert Storm a very little bit, but nothing of any depth to it. They don't understand what the war was about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like my oldest is going to be, she's a sophomore, so she's going to be a junior, and I don't think she's heard about it at all yet.
Right. They don't teach about Vietnam. They don't really talk about Korea, but World War I, II, revolutionary. Yes. The French and Indian stuff. There wasn't a lot of that, if I remember. And the North and South type stuff. There was not much of that talked about. It's just, how do you pick and choose what's what? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I I remember asking the kids one time, I said, "What are you guys learning about in history?" And they're like, "Religion." I said, "Excuse me?" They're like, "Yeah, the different religions." And I'm like,
When did that happen? That's crazy.
I don't know, like Christianity and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, see,
Oh, whatever,
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
that happened with my older kids, and that's when my kids stopped believing in God.
Ah,
The older ones, until they got a little bit, when they were in high school, they were done with it because they believed that here we are. That's how they taught them about evolution, the Big Bang Theory, all this. And when that happened, my kids had all gone to church when they were little.
mm-hmm.
They were like, well, and we'd talk about something. They're like, well, I don't believe in God. What? What are you talking about? You don't believe in God? And they started to go into this, and that. I went off. I called the school and I was like, listen, my children were raised with a semi religious background. They went to church,
Mm-hmm.
different things like that, non-denominational. There was no denominations. It was just a Christian church, so on and so forth. I said, so why now are they coming home telling me they don't believe that there's a God?
Right.
Well, Mr. Mayoris, part of our curriculum is to explain to them that the possibility of evolution and the Big Bang theories, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I said, but what right do you have to tell that to a very impressionable young teenage
Mm-hmm.
child, knowing how impressionable they can be? And now my kids are walking around thinking there's no God. I was,
Yeah.
and whether they were right or wrong, I was very mad, very mad. It bothered me to no end.
Yeah. I'm the same, Alicia. I am not religious at all. Neither is my husband, but we don't push anything on our kids. They know how to research and, stuff. They can believe what they want to believe.
Well, and don't get me wrong what I'm saying, okay? I
No.
feel like we've never shoved the church in their face. That was their choice. They went with grandparents and stuff like that.
Right.
We don't go on a regular basis either, because you heard me say before, I believe you could have church in your bathroom if you have a faith in
Right.
God. That's you, and some people don't. I get it.
Hmm.
I respect that wholeheartedly, but it feels like to me like it was shoved down their throat and it completely flipped them the other way. Now, some of them have now come back another direction. A couple of them think that, yay, there's a greater power, but they don't necessarily believe that it's God. And they get into the whole reading of the how did this exist then, and how does this doesn't make sense, that doesn't. And I respect that, but I feel like it was taken away from them without choice. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so, but they have always had, even him, the choice to choose what they want to do. I've never said you have to go to church, you have to believe in God. I'm not that person, but
Right.
it just angered me. Like, I didn't feel like the school has a right to do something like that,
Hmm.
but it is what it is at this point because it's been done. So, uh, let's
And
see.
yeah, I know they have in some schools SRB. Now, Brownsburg, they still had the Pledge of Allegiance before, as soon as school started, they always, right after the first bell, they did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh,
I
they give
don't,
them a choice now, which I don't like that either. You live in this country, you're an American citizen, that's our flag. You should salute that flag, pledge to it, whatever. They give them a choice that you don't have to say it if you don't want to. And I'm not a fan of that. That's all I'm
yeah.
saying. So I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I shouldn't be that way, but we have separation of church and state. Most anything religious related is not allowed, only if it's private schools through the churches. And even there, SRB, they have gone to the lacking side of that, from my understanding, with like a lot of the Catholic schools and parochial schools now. It's not as strong as it used to be. Like a lot of them here, when I went 2 years to my very kindergarten and first grade to a parochial school. It was Catholic. Okay. My grandparents forced it, but we would go to mass one period of the day in school or something like that. And they don't do that anymore. They just go to school and it's regular class teachings. There's nuns and stuff like that involved in the lower elementary schools, but not in the high school anymore. So, which is fine. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. I just understand it seems to have gone by the wayside. It's not as strong as it used to be, per se.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's worse than find out there's no Easter Bunny. There's no Easter Bunny? Bonnie? Thought there was an Easter Bunny.
No, Meg said she just saw him at the Easter egg hunt.
So okay. Thank God. Thank you, Meg. Yeah. I mean, they do it here, CZ, but that there's kids that don't want to do it. They allow that. And I'm just not comfortable with that. Now, if you're from here's my thought. Okay. If you're from another country and you come here the legal way and you become an American citizen the legal way, you're an American citizen. In turn, you pledge to the country you live in. Now, if you should choose to pledge to a flag from the country you originally came from, that's fine too. But I think you should still pay homage to the country that accepted you and gave you a home, in my opinion. I'm just saying. So I'm sure people will disagree with that, but that's just how I feel about that situation. I don't know. No. There is an Easter Bunny. It was stated that she saw him. We're good. Leave it alone. Stop talking about it. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's what they allow here is when they do the Pledge of Allegiance, they allow children that don't want to say it to go stand in the hallway until they're done. Does that not seem strange to you? Or do you agree with that? I mean, again, I'm not angry or either way. I don't care either way.
I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Caden told me about it. He said, "Dad, there's a couple kids in our class." But the thing is they're not from other countries. They're from here. They're born, bred, raised here. You know what I mean? They're not foreign or anything. And they just don't want to do it. So they go stand in the hallway. Two of them, he told me. I think it was a couple years back. And I was like, I don't know. That's weird.
I would have to, I think I would have to talk to some kids to hear their side to make an informative.
It's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. I respect that, at least I do. You don't have to say you're sorry at all. We can agree to disagree about everything in here. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good point too. My children should not be forced to pledge to anything they don't want to pledge to. I get that. And I agree with you. I do. I don't know. I almost feel like guilt if I were to not pledge to the flag, to the country that I'm from. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe that's what's wrong. Maybe that's the mentality some people have that was forced on us. I don't know. I guess that would be something to think about at some point.
Yeah, I like that, SRB.
I think they should have the right now to do the pledge if they so desire, but I don't think. Yeah, I mean, agreed. Options are okay. I don't know. I don't know why I feel like a guilt feeling if you don't do it or something. I don't know where that comes from. Like I said, maybe it's because it was forced on us, because it was. Guys, I remember being in very low elementary school grades, not Catholic school, public school, and we had to pray.
Yeah.
Which was fine with me, it's no big deal then, or even now, that everybody's different, but that I don't remember when that disappeared, but we used to do that second, third, and fourth grade. I remember there was a part we'd do the Pledge of Allegiance and then we would say a daily prayer, and that disappeared. So I don't know if it was that school, the teachers, it was three or four grades. So, and then it just stopped happening. So I was like, oh, okay. She said, bingo. You mean when I said it was forced on us? So yeah, that's probably right. We did those too, Mark. Good to see you, bud.
Yeah, I remember a moment of silence, and I was just standing there going, okay, is this over yet?
Right. Why are we standing here? Can I talk
I gotta
now?
be quiet all day. Why do I?
Yeah. I don't want to be quiet, damn it.
Right?
Exactly. When I went to high school, they were allowed to have prayer groups to meet in the library. Yeah, we did that here too. And they haven't done that since probably right after I got out of school, they stopped doing all that, from my understanding. So my mom carried her Bible to school every day because they had a Bible. Yeah, see, same thing. Like I said, right after I got out of school, it just kind of was gone. So either way, I'll shut up again. Sorry.
Safeguarded and secured our firearms, and then when the kids were old enough,
Oh, okay, gotcha. At least
we trained them on the safe handling and the use of firearms, but they never had access to our firearms. Never in the entire 20 years of our career, plus, because my wife continued in law enforcement for 21 years with the NYPD, and then another 18 years after that with the district attorney's office. Then my oldest son became a police officer as well. So we never allowed the kids any access whatsoever to our firearms. They were always secured when we were home.
Part of that I find interesting is that I think of previous school shootings where someone had access to a firearm that wasn't locked up and they were able to use that weapon in a high school shooting. Phoenix Eichner's 20 years old, so he's not a minor. Could the stepmom still face charges where maybe she did have, if she did have the gun legally locked up and this was someone who is not a minor and is eventually able to get access to the weapon? I mean, how could the law look at how he was able to get to the gun, and how does his age factor into what, if any, trouble that the stepmom could be in?
Well, if in fact he broke into the mom's storage locker for the firearms, say a safe or a strong box or whatever the case may be, and he's an adult, so he committed a crime to gain access to that firearm, then the mother should face no penalties for that. If she did that, then she made attempts to secure her firearm and keep it from access from her child, and then he broke the law to gain access to it. And then he'll be charged as an adult because he's 20 years old.
The sheriff said, invoked his right not to cooperate with the investigation. What type of communication, once he puts that, he says, I want a lawyer, I'm not talking. What type of communication can law enforcement have with him going forward? Is there even just checking in to see if he still has that approach to the investigation, or is it something where you just have to wait for him through a lawyer to contact you?
Well, you can reach out to his lawyer, but you cannot reach out to him directly now. Once the lawyer is involved, all direct communications with this defendant ceases to exist. Any communications between law enforcement will have to go directly to his lawyer, and then from his lawyer transmitted to the defendant, and then all these decisions will be made between the defendant and his lawyer.
I know in previous cases we've talked about, and you've lived it in your career, just the methodical approach that a crime scene investigator needs to take in putting together a timeline and the evidence that could be used when you get to a trial. And this would be a very high profile trial when we get to that point. There are, at the time of this recording, roughly 8 buildings that are closed on the FSU campus, which is if anybody's ever been, it is a massive state school. What type of, with school and those parts of campus closed off, I mean, how do you approach a massive crime scene like that and make sure you have the evidence you would need for trial?
Well, as I said, by the time the crime scene people get notified to respond, there should be plenty of information about what transpired and where it transpired. Where the different shootings occurred, the movements of the suspect and the victims, all of that should be obtained relatively easily in this case, because in this situation, in these universities and the way our society is today, you can't walk around any place or drive any place without being videotaped, okay, or photographed. So there should be plenty of that information. But as you said, this could be quite an extensive crime scene because of the movements from the parked car back to campus, and then back to the parked car, and then around the campus conducting the attack, and then being confronted by law enforcement, and finally shot by law enforcement and stopped. So all of these areas of concern have to be looked at. In addition, you know how many rounds were fired, you know how many gunshots the victims have sustained. So you're going to have to account for all this ballistics. You're going to look up for all the cartridge casings, and you got to understand too, in the beginning stages of the shooting, the people on campus, whether they go to school there or not, are running around like chickens without a head through the crime scene, trying to protect themselves and save themselves. So, these potential cartridge cases being ejected from this firearm are being kicked all over the place and or moved or crushed or damaged, possibly altered. I hope that's not the case, but in reality, that is highly probable. And then you have to account for all of that. So, you get the information from the two decedents, how many gunshot wounds they have, whether they're perforating or penetrating, meaning if it's perforating, it means the bullet did not exit and is still in the body and should be found on x-ray of the bodies. And if it's penetrating means that the bullet stayed in. Perforating means it entered and exit. So if there are entrance and exits, then you have to look for those bullets. And that could be a daunting task in and of itself, because bullets can fly miles, so you have to track down everything as reasonably as possible.
And classes are canceled through the rest of this week. Sporting events that were going to be held in Tallahassee, those have been canceled through the weekend. Is that enough time for crime scene investigators to gather as much evidence as they can before the school will eventually need to start bringing students back onto campus as they continue the semester?
It should be. Now we're into day 2 now of the crime scene, right? So it started yesterday, and we're into day 2. So after today, they should know if they're missing any ballistics. All right, they have the firearm. They should know how many cartridge cases. They should know the magazine and how much capacity it could hold. They would know if there were many magazine changes. Did he expend one magazine full of ammunition and then reload with a new magazine? They should know all this information. Now, they again have to add up the shots with the wounds of our victims and make sure they can account for that. Now, if they don't line up, then they have to look for what's called ballistic impact marks on surfaces of buildings, vehicles, anything that was in the vicinity that could have sustained ballistic damage from a bullet that missed its target.
What do the days look like for a crime scene investigator when you are working up against knowing that on Monday next week, the school could be back to business as usual? It's a campus of 45,000 people. For one crime scene investigator, what do those days look like?
Oh, if it's just one, it's going to be a long time.
Now, it's going to be a long time, but I guess for one person working on, part of the team that's trying to piece things together.
Right. So if the crime scene of this magnitude, it can be broken down into more manageable sectors. You don't have to have one team of crime scene investigators process the whole scene. If it's this large, then what you could do is you break it down into more manageable, you grid it off and break it down into more manageable sections, and then you assign multiple crime scene teams to process those individual sectors.
And when you look at, and unfortunately, we've covered a lot of cases like this, whether it's a school shooting, whether it's and I know we've talked about Nikita Kasap, who's the young man accused of killing his parents in Wisconsin. And I think especially in the case of a campus shooting, and we see it play out on social media, that people want to know what someone's political beliefs were and kind of make it this conversation that goes into.
He does kind of remind me of that Jordan Vandersloot a little bit. I don't know why. It's weird. That's a good point, though.
Something beyond the case itself. But for you,
welcome,
someone who has investigated these cases, you now analyze these cases. If there is something that is consistent through the people who commit these types of acts, what would you say that is?
Well, right away, what jumps at me is mental illness and.
That's very, very true, sir. It's not even weekly anymore. It's like every couple of days, and we've become so numb to it, for lack of a better term, so used to it that we're like, oh, there's another shooting. We just said this the other day. Oh, that's horrible, of course, but then we move on. Now, as compared to before, back in 20 years ago, it's like, oh my God, You know, the world, the sky fell out. The world is ending. It's a horrible thing, and it is.
Yeah.
But it's such something that is so norm now, and that in itself is the saddest part of this. That it's a normal thing now. So
Exactly.
it just I'll never get past that. I'll never get past that.
And the medications used to treat mental illness. I see a common theme amongst these shooters with regards to these types of illnesses and medications.
Yeah, and we've dived into Phoenix Eichner's family background. Seemed like there was some significant custody battles that were going on for a long time, and I'm sure we'll learn more about his mental state. Knowing all the information that you could gather from the crime scene and forensics, and then especially now in a world where on our phones you can learn so much about somebody. If he never cooperates with law enforcement, how strong of a case can you put? I mean, certainly we all want to know what the motive was going to be, but in terms of making sure this person, if they did what they say he did, goes behind bars for the rest of his life, do you really
He
need to
saved
talk to him?
Tom.
You can have cases that are circumstantial evidence based and still get a conviction. So
That's what I was trying to say. Exact, like when Columbine happened, Alicia, you're right. It was just like I sat for like a week, and it was just I was completely like appalled, and I cried a few times. And same with well, more with what was the one Mama Bear with all the little kids, that the young children.
You've
Um,
laid
no, not that one.
no,
It was way
not that one.
before that.
Oh,
They were all like kindergarten, first grade age. That Sandy Hook.
Sandy
Yeah,
Hook.
thank you. That broke me, guys. That literally broke me. I cried for a week because I couldn't imagine, and I literally sat there, watched, and I couldn't stop watching it. And I bawled my eyes out like a little baby. And now we see it, we talk about it for a little while, we're sad, but then we move on. That's not a normal thing. It's just
No.
not, and it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be. You did actually spell that right, Alicia. Pretty good shit, good stuff. So yeah, Sandy Hook really, it broke me, completely broke me. And now, like I said, it just, not that it doesn't matter, not that I don't care. We're so used to it now that we just do what we do, and it's so sad to me.
I've seen in the past is you can do a deep dive on the cell phones, the texting, the movements, all the GPS locations in there, the social media footprint. Then you look at also the vehicle. You could use the infotainment system to see when the phone connects there. There's also data stored in there. Okay, especially with the social media aspects of it too. There's clouds. You gather up all of this information of what was transpiring leading up to the event. And then in this case, he was stopped as he was in the middle of the incident. I shouldn't say event, it's an incident. He was stopped and halted at the incident. And so we don't have any further electronics
Welcome, Charlotte.
coming from him at this point. But, based upon all of this data, you should be able to look at his Amazon searches or, whatever searches he was conducting online, what he was reading online, where he was visiting, what site.
Are you gonna start singing, SRB?
No, we were talking about how time has gone by so fast. We've been out of school for 31 years, and I know. Kaylee's like, I've been out for 20. We're still young. I'm like, she's like, well, my mind tells me I am young, but my body says otherwise.
Right. And when I seen her, I'm thinking the first thing that clicked was that R. Kelly song, and I went, "Are you going to start singing or something?" But no. I get it. Yeah, this guy is from Duty Ron, 100%. So, but yeah, I agree with you guys. The body don't react like it's supposed to at this. We're supposed to be younger than this, but it went by super fast.
And you should be able to get a profile of who this individual is to probably establish an MO for why he did this.
Yeah, it's so interesting too when you think it's so much more than the Facebook and the Instagram. I know in a lot of cases we talk about Telegram, Discord, unclear if you had profiles on there, but even now the Amazon, I know in the Brian Koberger case out of Idaho, Amazon has become an incredibly key part of defendants in these cases and what people are accused of. So it's going to be this is of course a story in the very beginning. It's very tragic. It's shocking with the background that this shooter appears to have had. And there's going to be a lot of questions moving forward. Ed Wallace, it's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We are requesting as much information as we can on this story, including court documents and body cam video. When we get that information, we'll be sure to share it with you. For On the Case, presented by Law and Crime, I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.
Okay, let's see here. I want to show you guys something that I've been following. We all have, actually, in here. But I've been kind of slightly obsessed with it. And you guys do know, and I just want to, hopefully this lets me do this. I think it will, because I've ran it before. It's interesting the way it was put together. Everybody knows about the Lady Bird Lake stuff that has been coming in here for a while, that I've been obsessed with that one because I really want to find out what the hell's going on. Well, a channel put this together in a really good way, in my opinion. And I thought it would be great to share with you guys, to show you guys the way they put it together, basically. Sorry, I'm talking in circles again. But if anybody's not familiar with Lady Bird Lake, this will introduce you. It's the place in Texas where I do believe, and many people do believe, the possibility of a serial killer is involved in a multiple death situation that has the same almost through all of it. So every one of them has just about the same exact circumstance. And this channel put this together, and I thought it was really kind of interesting. And they titled it "An Active Serial Killer Stalking Austin, Texas." So let me know what you guys think. All right, let's see what we got here. I did filter it, and it should be okay, I hope. If not, well, we'll just move on. So
Austin police responding to a high-priority call in Zone 300 of Lady Bird Lake.
Concern among people who hang out near Lady Bird Lake Monday after the body of...
More than 16 bodies, one lake, and a growing number of questions that have left an entire city on edge. Over the past 16 years, Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas, has become the center of a disturbing mystery that continues to unfold at this very moment. And bodies keep appearing in these waters. Young men who vanish without explanation, only to be found days later under suspicious circumstances. And while local authorities maintain these are tragic accidents, a growing number of Austin residents are questioning whether something more sinister might really be at play. Hey guys, it's Andrew. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Every Town Where Today we're checking out an ongoing mystery taking place down in Texas. And 20 people found dead in Lady Bird Lake since 2008, and 12 of them since 2022. As the number continues to climb, the similarities between many of these cases have become impossible to ignore. And some survivors have interesting stories to tell, Whether or not these are just a bunch of coincidences, or the work of a killer, or perhaps a mix of both, is what we're digging into today. Let's head on over to Austin and check out the mysterious deaths of Lady Bird Lake. And to start off, Lady Bird Lake wasn't always called that. Created in 1960 as a cooling pond for a power plant, it was originally called Town Lake. The reservoir was renamed in 2007 to honor Lady Bird Johnson, the former First Lady who had worked to beautify its shores. This body of water stretches through downtown Austin, reaching depths of up to 18 feet, and has become a central feature of the city's outdoor recreation scene. It's surrounded by parks, trails, and some of Austin's most popular entertainment districts. The Ann and Roy Butler Hike and Bike Trail circles its perimeter, drawing joggers, cyclists, and pedestrians at all hours. And on its northern shore lies Rainey Street, a historic district transformed into one of the city's hottest nightlife destinations, packed with bars, restaurants, and food trucks. And despite its calm appearance, Lady Bird Lake has some powerful underlying currents, and its waters can be more treacherous than they seem. And because of this, swimming is officially banned by a city ordinance. Though when the weather gets hot, people have been known to ignore this and take a dip despite the risks. And so unfortunately, there have been some drowning deaths reported here over the years. The ones that could have been avoided, but accidents happen. But all these hazards alone don't explain the disturbing pattern that started to emerge in 2008. A pattern that begins with a Lebanese-American school teacher named Raid Hamad. At 55 years old, Ray was a dedicated peace activist who had lived in the city for over 3 decades. He spent his time teaching business education, pursuing graduate studies at the University of Texas, as well as running a charitable organization called the Palestine Children's Welfare Fund, which sold Palestinian craft to support families in need. And the first death was one of the strangest of all because all the events leading up to it were out of the norm. See, in February of 2008,
Thanks, Charlotte.
FBI
We'll see you
and
soon, hopefully.
IRS joined forces to raid his South Austin home, seizing 40 boxes of material related to his charity work as part of an investigation into alleged wire fraud, bank fraud, and money laundering. And no charges were filed, but on Monday night of April 14th, Ahmad's family reported him missing. His last known contact was a peculiar phone call to a colleague in California, during which he briefed her on the raids, things he had already covered in previous emails before abruptly ending the conversation. Within 24 hours, police used his cell phone to locate his car in a parking lot near South Lakeshore Boulevard. After an initial search, nothing turned up. But on Wednesday afternoon, a passerby on the north side of the lake spotted a body floating near the shore, just east of the I-35 bridge. It was Hamad. The condition of his body would spark years of speculation and controversy. And his eyes were wrapped in duct tape, as if the spool had been spun around his head. Both of his hands and legs were also bound. Despite the suspicious circumstances, investigators claimed the bindings were consistent with self-application. His arms, for example, were in front of his body, rather than wrapped behind his back. And so for them, officially it appeared like he had done this all to himself. But still, not everyone was convinced. And the case became even more controversial when Hamad's body was transported to the Islamic Center of Greater Austin for burial preparation. The imam there, two experienced colleagues left the room in distress. As Dramali stated, it appeared like a wild animal that ripped him to shreds. His colleague back in California, the one who got the final phone call, suggested Hamad might have deliberately staged his death to cast suspicion on his perceived enemies. Others speculated about darker possibilities. Given his political activities and the strange condition of his body, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he was targeted. In the end, the Austin PD stood by their ruling, but Hamad's death would become even stranger in the years that followed, because it marked the beginning of what will become a disturbing pattern over at Lady Bird Lake.
Now, for those that aren't familiar with this, that we've covered this many a times, every time there's something new. Thank you, Mama Bear, for putting that up again. Police stayed as far away from serial killer on this as they can, and they repeatedly do that. Every time something happens, they come out very quickly. They make a statement. They say that there's no foul play involved, that they do not believe this, that, anything else. It's definitely not serial. All that stuff. They stay as far away as they can. I do not believe it. There's too many things that match up that are so much the same. The MO is the same situation. And one of the guys, I'm sure they're going to get to it, was literally poisoned and pushed into the lake and survived. Okay. So, it's been glitching pretty bad, Phil. Yeah, I agree. So, I'm just saying they don't want to touch that. I don't know why they won't go there. I don't know if it's because they're afraid it's going to keep people away or whatever it is, but they will not touch it. And one of my theories on this was that it could be a law enforcement officer involved, okay? Because of the fact that nobody has been seen, caught, or even looked into for this, per se, because they don't look at it that way. So it's kind of wild if you're not familiar with it. If you are familiar, you guys know what we're talking about, so.
A few months later in June, Austin Fire and Rescue responded to an emergency call from a local.
Yeah, it is YouTube today, guys. My internet signal is excellent, it says. So there's something going on with YouTube, I think. My apologies. I can't control it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't noticed anything.
It glitched a little here just a few minutes ago where it kind of flashed and like did a little scramble, but that was it. So I don't know. Maybe if it's only happening to a couple people, maybe it is signal from your side of things, or maybe it's YouTube just having certain issues. I don't know, but my apologies. Absolutely.
Early on a Sunday morning. They had been out on the lake when they thought they had spotted a body, though they weren't really sure. When responders went to investigate, there between the Holiday Inn and Interstate 35, they found the badly decomposed remains of somebody. They were in such bad shape that at first they couldn't even determine the gender of the victim. It would later be discovered that the remains belonged to a missing mother and preschool teacher, Nazima Habibul. Nazima had vanished shortly after telling her fiancé that she was going to the local grocery store. Unfortunately, this is all we really know about her story, and no cause of death has ever been disclosed. And at the time her body was found, homicide investigations were ongoing, with inquiries directed at people close to her, but no further information was ever made available. Now, Nazima is an outlier in this whole mystery because she is one of the few female victims. But her story is definitely worth mentioning because it happened in the time frame, and as we try to piece together what exactly is going on here, we need to account for all the.
That probably is it right there. That has happened quite a bit before. Thank you, Rise, and welcome, by the way. Appreciate you.
Information. Now, 4 years passed before the lake claimed its next victim, but on February 7th of 2012, Eleno Valle, a 20-year-old student, was reported missing. For 10 days, the university community waited anxiously for news of their classmates' whereabouts. The answer came on a Monday morning when police received a call at 8:42 a.m. about a body in Lady Bird Lake. Valle was found near the intersection of Lavaca and Cesar Chavez Streets. and the police immediately began investigating it as an unaliving situation. Though the reasons for this quick determination were never fully explained to the public. And 2 years later, in 2014, 25-year-old Iran Rublik disappeared after what would have been a routine rideshare trip home. His last known location was precisely documented. An Uber driver had dropped him off outside the Holiday Inn near Interstate 35 around 2:30 in the morning. What happened next, though, remains a mystery. It wasn't until the following afternoon around 2:30 p.m. the two fishermen made the grim discovery. Rublik's body was floating in Lady Bird Lake. But how had a young man gone from being safely dropped off at a hotel to ending up in there? Rublik's death was officially ruled as an accidental drowning.
In 2015, 22-year-old Julio Santos III was home in Austin for a week after graduating before he was set to start a new job in Seattle, but his life was cut short.
Santos was last seen near a food truck across from the Barbarella Bar in downtown Austin at 2:30 a.m. His body was found just hours later, at 7 a.m. on the same day. His belongings were discovered behind the bar, including some of his cash and ID, suggesting he hadn't been robbed and that maybe he had chosen to go for a swim after having too much to drink, though nobody recalls him saying anything to that effect. His death was yet again ruled as an accidental drowning. However, his sister openly disagrees with this verdict once the investigation into her brother's death reopened.
I think he was drugged. I think he was overserved. I think he was lured over there in the river. I picture somebody hurting him and he's just left. We should be able to have fun and not have to worry about, our loved ones being found in the river and being told, oh, they just drink too much.
Then in October of 2018.
And that's what law enforcement has been doing. They have been telling the families throughout just about all of these, they just drank too much. They shouldn't have drank too much. They were doing this. They were doing that. And kind of putting it on the victims. Again, I don't believe it.
18.
Travis County Sheriff's Office says a body found in Lake Austin earlier this week was the body of a man who went missing over the weekend. The body has been officially identified as Christopher White. He was last seen on Saturday morning.
After attending the festival on Friday, October 5th, the group returned to their accommodations near Lake Austin. Early the next morning, around 6 a.m., White, who appeared intoxicated, mentioned going to the dock, but was not seen leaving the house. Later that day, his friends noticed he was missing and reported it to the authorities. On October 8th, a passerby then made the shocking discovery. It was White's body floating in Lake Austin near a dock close to the rental property. The Travis County medical examiner ruled his death as an accidental drowning, with toxicology reports indicating the presence of ethanol and MDMA in his system. Lake Austin is part of Lady.
Nope. Phil said the internet here is held together with zip ties and rubber bands. I guess Verizon just doesn't have the funds to upgrade the system. Maybe we could know. If we're going to do a GoFundMe, it's going to be for Optimum first. I'm going to tell you right now, because I've suffered through years of garbage with this. You can ask Mama Bear, to the point where I've almost fist fought the guy shirtless in the middle of my damn driveway that come out to my house. So, we'll do that after we do Optimum. I'll give you that, Phil. But don't ever get Optimum, anybody.
Lady Bird Lake, with the same body of water, just a couple miles apart. Just a month after this, in November, Martin Gutierrez, 25-year-old Austin resident, disappeared after a night out in the increasingly popular Rainy Street district. The circumstances of his disappearance were particularly troubling. The security footage from his final hours showed him in what his brother would later describe as a completely uncharacteristic state.
We actually found some surveillance at an apartment complex nearby that showed Martin going towards the water, or what we thought was Martin, and it looked very similar to the way he was walking and everything, so we were almost quite positive it was, and we turned it over to the detective. And I just don't know how he got in the water. I don't know if he fell or someone hurt him, or there's just so many questions unanswered.
This behavior was especially puzzling to his brother, who noted that they often went out drinking together, and Martin had never acted this way before. The search for the young man ended when his body was found floating in the waters near the area where he was last seen.
Officers pulled 25-year-old Martin Gutierrez's body from Lady Bird Lake on Monday. Yesterday, fingerprint technology confirmed it was him.
The discovery raised more questions than it answered. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma to the back of his head, an injury that seemed a bit difficult to explain as simply the result of an accidental fall. This one was severe. However, without anything else to go on and no other clues or evidence, officials ruled his death an accidental drowning while intoxicated. So up to this point, you might be thinking that accidents happen, right? That, yeah, maybe there's an unusual amount of drownings happening here. But mix in a bunch of bars and young people and put it next to a large body of water, and bad things are going to occur. And while it may be true for some of these cases, the following story shifted the public perception as to what was really going on here in Austin. Because one of these young men who had been hanging out in this area survived his fall into the river, and he says it was no accident at all. On November 17th of 2019, 21-year-old Christian Pugh went out for what should have been just another night.
100%. Thank you, Alicia. That's my point too. Very lazy police work. It's almost like they don't want to be bothered with it. The way they approach it, you know what I mean? We don't see any foul play. We don't think it's this. We don't this. So that way they don't have to investigate it. It was an accident.
Right. Well, Mark
go ahead.
said, I wonder if all these people were drugged. They have stuff, roofies or something, right?
The guy that survived, okay, he was drugged with I think it was Rupanol and maybe something else. But see what when we looked into this and researched some of this stuff in the past, there's certain drugs that can be given to people that disappear within a period of hours.
Right.
But they won't show up in an autopsy. So his did, because he survived and they took him to barely survive. Somebody found him. He wasn't supposed to. Yeah, MDMA. Thank you, Alicia. And there's a couple other ones, I think, too, that will affect you this way. And I think, that was part of our thought, too, when we investigated this, Mark, was that they were being drugged in the bar. And it affects them as they're leaving. And at some point, they get attacked by this person and off into the lake they go. Or these persons. I think it's possibly more than one. So, yeah, I got to agree. And like Alicia said, MDMA is one of those drugs that can be given and it doesn't show up in an autopsy report. So this is absolutely pure laziness as far as I'm concerned with law enforcement, because we're looking at this going, okay, something's wrong, and they have to be seeing it for what it is. Why aren't you doing something with it? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it. Hey, under and over it. Good to see you. I don't know. It's just a thought. Sorry, I'm playing with my toys here. You see these?
No, that's cute.
McDonald's toys. Yep. Anyway, sorry, guys. Someone who has a lot of power and money is involved. See? It's possible too. We also looked into the possibility of a group of women, because there was somebody somewhere found a story about a group of women that are basically doing this to get money. Okay, so that's one of the other possibilities as well. Angel D, good to see you. Mountain Man's in the house. Good to see you, brother. All the city has to do is install trail cams around it. We've said that many a times, or some kind of a safety precaution for the lake. If you're calling this an accident, then you need to fix that. They haven't done that either. So even at some point, Riley Strange situation, I thought could have been possibly involved with this. I don't think it now, but still, you know, it's one of those thoughts that is it moving? Because I think it's some places in Chicago, Texas. There's been a few other places where it seems to be the same MO, just not as often as Lady Bird Lake. So, GHB is out of the body in hours, really tested in that shit. Yeah, exactly. Good point, Tinsel. Thank you. And welcome, by the way. Okay. So, yeah, guys, you guys are on point with this, too. Thank you, Angel.
I'm in town with some friends. They headed to none other than Rainey Street, and it was pretty busy as usual. Like many of the victims before him, Pugh then vanished at some point during the night. His friends couldn't pinpoint exactly when or how he separated from the group, but those hours turned into days as people searched, fear growing with each passing hour. Unlike the other cases, well, this story would take an unexpected turn. Because 2 days after his disappearance, Pugh was found.
According to police, Pugh was last seen here at Clive on Rainey Street when he was reported missing, but this is nowhere near where he was found. He was actually found south of Lady Bird Lake, near the south end of the Congress Avenue Bridge, a drive that took us about 5 minutes. According to those who found him, Pugh was deep embedded into this brush right here, in between the water and the hike and bike trail.
And Pugh was conscious, but barely clinging to life.
I didn't catch that. But...
I didn't either. What was it that? What did I miss? Sorry, I'm over here choking.
Oh.
Sorry about that, you guys. What were you looking at, Phil?
The video.
This is homophobic. Look at the faces. One name, Brandon, Tina. This one here?
That might be.
Or this Christian Pugh?
Oh, that's Christian Pugh.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys.
Oh, Alicia said she can see what she's talking about.
I must have not heard. Are they? I don't know. Sorry, you guys. I can't get this out.
You're supposed to swallow, not inhale.
Well, I went down the wrong side.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
People being targeted for their sexuality. Oh, yeah. That was another thought already, too. That's what you meant, Phil. Yes. That was one of the main. I thought you meant something in here. Absolutely, 100%. That was one of our main thoughts. You remember, Mama Bear, that we looked into it, and I thought, are these gay men that are being attacked like this? 100%.
Mountain Man, the killer, not the video, the killer.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I got you, Phil. 100%. That's exactly where our thoughts went on this after we started seeing certain things. I said, yeah, this makes sense now. And that's why I started calling it a hate crime, in my opinion, if that's what's going on. But the police won't even look at it that way. They won't do anything with this. And I don't understand. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. They're accidents. That's all they're saying is they're accidents that we don't see. And you guys have seen, some of you have seen the press conferences that they give on these. They send an officer in. He walks up and go. One of the main things, all he does is come in there to say is, well, we don't see any foul play here. So it was a horrible accident. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. That's it. That's all they're saying about this. And it absolutely looks to me like hate crimes. And it has. There was 1 or 2 women. And there was, I think, 1 or 2 guys that I don't believe were homosexual at that point. Now, does the killer know that? I don't know. Okay. And were the 2 women homosexual possibly? I don't know. They could have been. It could be related in that sense too, but that's my look at this. And what my main thought process was that this is a hate crime situation. So I don't know. But I see you. Many of people have noticed it, Phil. So very good pointing that out. Once again, I wish law enforcement would look at it that way.
Busy as usual. Like many of the victims before him, Pugh then vanished at some point during the night. His friends couldn't pinpoint exactly when or how he separated from the group, but those hours turned into days as people searched, fear growing with each passing hour. Unlike the other cases, well, this story would take an unexpected turn. Because 2 days after his disappearance,
Moonlit says, if I'm not mistaken, the 5 in Chicago were 2 years ago, all in a close duration of time. So it makes me, that's what I said. Now, I also related this to another case that I've been following pretty obsessively too. Not the, I always get them confused. Which one was it, Bear? Was it the happy face or the smiley face? The happy face was the old one, right?
I think so. I get them confused.
I do too. I believe it's the smiley face killer situations that have happened that kind of mimic this, or vice versa. I don't know if they're related or if they're not related. Okay. First time I've seen this. They all set up alarms for Graham, stealing more chin than they can swim with. Move along. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay, Tinsel said smiley face.
Smiley.
Alicia
Thank
said
you.
smiley face. Okay.
Thank you, guys. I thought that's what it was. And I still feel there's a possibility that they're related. I do. Because again, the MO matches. Too many things line up, and I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to this stuff. So thank you, Stormy. Yes, happy face was Keith Jefferson. Very true. So it is the smiley face. I need to write that on my forehead so I don't forget it.
Yep.
Some men have
that's
found
true.
themselves absolutely sick as a dog. Days later, can't remember a thing. Exactly. Same exact thing, Angel. Agreed. Thank you. Do the Austin cases have missing time? A lot of them have the same exact MO, Tinsel. I didn't get to investigate some of the other stuff, but I really did deep on the main stuff in Lady Bird. There was Chicago. There was also New York and Cleveland. Okay. And maybe more. So I always thought it was a traveler. And then this started happening in the UK the same way. Now that's a bit of a haul, to be doing it over there. Or is it just somebody seeing it maybe on the news and being a copycat? Or is it just how it ended up? It could be any of that. So especially with the UK side of things. The victims who don't survive being drugged end up in the lake with their cards and wallets still on them, allegedly. Right.
Huh.
You guys are on point with a lot of this, guys. I appreciate it very much.
Pugh was found.
Yeah, the Happy Face series is really good.
According to police, Pugh was last seen here at Clive on Rainy Street when he was reported missing, but this is nowhere near where he was found. He was actually found south of Lady Bird Lake, near the south end of the Congress Avenue Bridge, a drive that took us about 5 minutes. According to those who found him, Pugh was deep embedded into this brush right here, in between the water and the hike and bike trail.
And Pugh was conscious, but barely clinging to life. His body showed signs of severe trauma, broken ribs, a dislocated leg, things you'd expect from a fall off a bridge. He also had bloodied knuckles, and a large welt on his head, and these things were more consistent with having been in a fight. The injuries were so extensive that he immediately was induced into a coma to help the healing process, and it would last like that for a month. And meanwhile, the police classified this as another accident, suggesting Pugh had stumbled and fallen off of Congress Avenue Bridge. But when the young man finally emerged from his coma, well, he had more to add to the story. Unfortunately, the trauma of the whole thing had wiped his memory of most of the night. There were a lot of blank spots, but he thinks he was assaulted and thrown over that bridge deliberately. Now, as a reminder, the police were not the ones to find Pugh. In fact, they waited over 48 hours before dispatching a search team. A short time after that is when that homeless man randomly found him. The police dismissed Pugh's claims, saying he thought that perhaps he was targeted, given some sort of drug, and then tossed over the side of Congress Bridge and left for dead. And the people in town at this point were realizing something was off with all this stuff happening, even if the authorities wouldn't. Pugh's case sparked the creation of a Change.org petition, asking the Austin PD to acknowledge that the drownings might not be accidents. And they wanted the cases to be taken more seriously. Within days, hundreds of concerned citizens had signed it. But even with this, the deaths didn't stop, and in fact, they multiplied in rapid succession. Beginning in mid-2022, the bodies started appearing with disturbing frequency. Between July of 2022 and February of 24, at least 12 more people were found dead in or near the lake. Ricky Parks was discovered in July of 2022 near 9 East Avenue. His investigation was quickly closed and no foul play was said to have been involved. On December 10th, an unidentified person was found near South Pleasant Valley Road and South Lakeshore Boulevard. Just 2 weeks later, on Christmas Day, another unidentified body was discovered near the pedestrian bridge along South Lamar. And 3 days after that, Kyle Thornton was found near the Congress Avenue Bridge. That's 3 bodies in less than 3 weeks.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. We have a bingo, Miss Alicia. Of course, they're escalating. They've gotten away with it. They're because law enforcement's ignoring it. It's an accident, guys. I'm sorry. Be more careful when you drink. No. It's bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Sorry. And they're going to get worse and worse because the police are not doing it with a damn thing. And so many people have come to them and said this. You know, it's a problem. It's happening. Why are you not looking at it that way? At least look at it. Not doing it.
Coincidence? Or the work of a serial killer? Maybe a little bit of both. By now, among the Austinites, there were rumblings of the Rainy Street Killer on the loose. And those rumblings are right now only getting louder. Because come 2023, things only got worse. On February 5th of that year, Jason John, known to friends as JJ, disappeared. The 30-year-old had moved to Austin during the pandemic, relocating from NYC with his puppy Ruffle, seeking new opportunities in Texas. Now, he was last seen walking from Rainy Street toward the Ann and Roy Butler hike and bike trail, a route that would become tragically familiar in these cases. 8 days of searching and his body was found.
Autopsy results for Jason John, who was found dead in Lady Bird Lake back in February, have been released.
And the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office has ruled the cause of death an accidental drowning.
March brought another devastating loss. The 40-year-old Clifton Axtell was found dead on the 5th. Axtell was a commercial real estate analyst on track to graduate from Harvard Extension School, where he consistently made the dean's list. My friends described him as a beautiful, bright ball of energy with fierce intellect and creativity. And he was deeply involved in his church, leading worship at Celebrate Recovery for 3 years. He left behind a wife, Megan, and 2 children. But the cause of death? The medical examiner was unable to determine it. It was explained as a natural event, that he had either entered the water on his own or fallen in. Because they didn't know which, they just left it as undetermined to play it safe. And before the city could even process Axtell's death, another tragedy struck. This time, 33-year-old Jonathan Honey, who had come to Austin for what should have been a celebration, a bachelor party with friends. On March 31st, he was enjoying the city's famous food truck scene, and it would be the last time anyone saw him alive. His body was found the very next day in the water. And April brought another victim, 30-year-old Christopher Hayes Clark. And his death left a 12-year-old son without a father. Multiple 911 calls reported his body in the lake, leading to a water rescue attempt that came in too late. In June, Mogadogel was found near the 1000 block of West Cesar Chavez Street. And like so many others, his death was quickly labeled as not being investigated as a homicide. But by this point, the similarities between the cases were becoming impossible to ignore. The victims were predominantly young men. Many had disappeared from the exact same area. Many were found in similar locations. And in case after case, the official explanation seemed to leave key questions unanswered. I mean, what really happened to these guys? Jeff Jones is another survivor of Lady Bird Lake. And this 38-year-old was visiting Austin for a bachelor party. And after a night out on West 6th Street, he was found severely injured under the 6th Street Bridge near Shoal Creek. Now, Jones had sustained multiple injuries, including broken vertebrae, a punctured spleen, and internal bleeding. Medical tests revealed the presence of Rohypnol in his system, indicating he had been drugged that night. Now, Jones believes he was drugged and pushed off of the bridge, a theory that has raised concern about potential serial killings in the area. After all, he wouldn't be the first, but yet the police do not seem to be taking this seriously.
5 bodies pulled from Lady Bird Lake in just 6 months. Jason John, Clifton Axtell, Jonathan Honey, John Christopher Hayes Clark, and now an unidentified man.
The most recent discovery came on February 5th of 2024.
Austin police responding to a high-priority call in Zone 300 of Lady Bird Lake around 8:15 Sunday morning. That's near Brazos and East Cesar Chavez Street. APD says that based on appearance, the body was a homeless woman in her 60s and that it looks like she was trying to stay warm based on her clothing and the position of her body. Police say there were no signs of drug or alcohol usage.
And that leaves us with over 16 cases, the majority of which took place in the last 3 years, all surrounded by an unmistakable air of mystery. In short, this is what we got. Many of the victims were young men in their 20s or 30s. A significant number were last seen in or around the Rainy Street district. And several victims disappeared in the early morning hours between 2 and 3 a.m. The Austin police have consistently maintained that there's no evidence linking these deaths together or suggesting foul play was even involved. They point to alcohol as a common factor, noting that many victims have been drinking before their deaths. The department emphasizes that the combination of alcohol and easy access to the lake, particularly through poorly lit areas, creates dangerous conditions. But that doesn't seem to be the whole story, because multiple victims showed signs of physical trauma. Several bodies were found far from where the victims were last seen, many of them showing up in parts of the lake that were opposite to the direction that the current flows, meaning there's more to their stories than just falling in. They walked around to other parts of the city. Where exactly, though, nobody knows.
Yep, exactly. When the bars let out, after they've been drinking, the drinks have been drugged, in my opinion. It's the same MO just about every single time. I think there was one that was a little different, and it was a woman. That may have been an accident. That one I'll give it. Besides that, no, the rest of them match almost identically. So it's ridiculous, wholeheartedly.
So let's dive into 2 of the most compelling theories surrounding the deaths at Lady Bird Lake. Now, the first one is, let's say, the most rational, though it comes with a big asterisk. See, Austin has undergone a major transformation in recent years. In just 4 years, the city's metro population has swelled from 2.17 million to 2.31 million. Each year brings a new wave. 52,000 new residents in 2022, another 46,000 in 23, and 46,000 more in 24. That's a lot of people, around 1,000 new residents every single week. each chasing dreams of tech jobs and the freedom of Texas living. Now, this massive growth has rewritten Austin's identity. The streets that once housed local musicians and artists now showcase tech campuses and startup incubators. The city's famous weird culture drowns under waves of development, leaving a landscape where homeless encampments huddle in the shadows of gleaming luxury high-rises. And some apartments renting for more than what entire houses cost just a decade ago. The area around Lady Bird Lake embodies this transformation. Old music venues that launched legends like the Dixie Chicks and Lyle Lovett have vanished, replaced by towering condos. Former hippie hangouts and vegan cafes that once prioritized feeding the community over profit have given way to upscale restaurants and bars. This rapid change has created a perfect storm of conditions around the lake. University students under immense stress from Austin's rising cost of living, mixed with the city's unhoused population, creating a volatile environment. Bars and clubs overflow with revelers every weekend, adding to the chaos. The lake's winding trails, often dimly lit and with numerous access points to deep water, provide the ideal setting for tragedy to unfold in an instant, especially when all the new people don't know what's around the next bend. So through this lens, the string of drownings takes on a grimly logical aspect. A late night on Rainy Street, where drinks flow freely and crowds spill into the streets until the early hours of the morning. The lake is just a few blocks away, its edge often unguarded. A little stumble is all it takes. A misstep could easily lead to disaster.
Or a nice big push. That it takes that too sometimes.
But then there's the other theory that continues to linger.
With several bodies surfacing over the past 2 years in and around Lady Bird Lake, rumors of a serial killer have been brought into question.
Although the police dismiss this notion, the pattern of deaths seem to point to something far more sinister going on. A predator intentionally targeting victims. And what better place to do it, really, than where there's tons of people and tons of alcohol? And people have foggy memories. And if anything is to happen, well, it's easy to blame it on the bars and restaurants sitting so close to the water. Here, the lake's edge combines tourist spots where people gather to watch the famous Austin Bats.
Welcome, Robert. Good to see you, brother.
Access points, creating countless opportunities for anybody with malicious intent. Advocates of this theory note disturbing details that seem to transcend mere coincidence. There's the unexplained trauma found on multiple victims. The curious fact that the bodies sometimes appear far from the victims' last known locations. Then there's the case of Martin Gutierrez, who was seen on camera stumbling as if he had been drugged. The case of Christian Pugh, who survived but can't remember what happened to him. Again, possibly drugged. The case of Jeff Jones, who was convinced he was drugged and pushed off of the bridge, with the toxicology reports backing him up. Despite these unsettling signs, local law enforcement continue to maintain that each death has been thoroughly investigated and deemed either accidental or unexplained. But history has shown that many deaths in many cases have been initially written off as coincidences until the real perpetrator is finally caught. As I mentioned, it doesn't have to necessarily be one or the other. The truth most likely lies somewhere between these two theories. It's possible that Austin's rapid growth alongside the changing demographics and an influx of people has created the ideal conditions for both accidents and predatory behavior to thrive unnoticed. Regardless of where you stand, one thing is certain.
No worries, Robert. No worries whatsoever. It's wonderful to have you here. I'm grateful to see you. Take as much time as you need to type, sir. Great to have you here.
For many in Austin, Lady Bird Lake is no longer seen as just a peaceful urban retreat, and it's become a place of uncertainty where safety feels compromised. With so many unexplained deaths, it seems like they need to take the simple steps first. More lighting in the dark areas of the park, more surveillance cameras too, and of course guardrails along the water's edge. Then they can answer once and for all what exactly is happening and either help put a stop to the accidents or put a killer behind bars.
Same to you, Paula. Thank you so much, dear.
So that's going to do it for this week's episode of Every Town. Hope you all enjoyed it.
So there it is. Like I said, I like the way he presented it, and it's definitely a problem. Okay, and I just don't understand why APD will not look at it that way, or anyone for that matter. I don't know, but Mama Bear, your thoughts on this?
Nothing other than what's already been said. It's just really weird why they wouldn't put up like a railing to keep people from doing this if it's accidental.
Something.
Yeah. I mean, just show that you're trying to prevent it somehow, some way, whether it's accidental or not.
Yeah, agreed. You're absolutely right. Anything like they won't even like hear. They don't want to hear anybody. People have gone to them trying to talk to them about it. They don't want to hear it. Excuse me. I don't understand it. Like, why won't you just at least look into it? And it made me. That's what made me start wondering. Do they think it might be one of their own? You know, is there something weird? I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but still, it's crazy to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, 16 in 3 years is a lot, in my opinion.
And there was an uptick there for a while where it just was like one after another. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? So
I remember that.
big deal, big deal. And then it quieted down. When people started making noise about it, it got quiet for a little while. So I don't know, you guys. It just bugs me. Just saying, it bugs me. I got one more thing here I wanted to show you guys, and I'm sorry. Once again ahead of time.
Nancy.
It's Aunt Nancy, guys. Please don't hate me. But it's a crazy story, and it definitely needs to get put out there. So, and then we're gonna move to some other segments here. A little less lighthearted than a little more lighthearted. Sorry, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Anyway, yes, I'm sorry, Alicia. This needs to be heard in a bad way, in my opinion, if you haven't seen it. So.
According to police, the so-called DUI mom crashes her car into a canal, then flees the scene to take a boozy, drunken bath, leaving her 4-year-old little girl to drown in the car back in the canal. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Tragedy strikes near Modesto, California, when 26-year-old Juliet Acosta crashes her vehicle into an irrigation canal with her 4-year-old daughter, Reagan, still inside. But when police arrive, Juliet is nowhere to be found.
Content may include sensitive or violent content not suitable for all viewers. Feel free to step out if needed.
Just in case, everyone.
And what they uncover next stuns the community.
Okay, crashing, bad enough, with your child in the car. The car flipped in the water in a canal. But why wasn't mommy frantically trying to save her daughter? And why did she flee the scene to go take a boozy, drunken bath, leaving the baby in the car? Joining me an all-star panel to make sense of what we are learning right now, but I want you to listen to this.
So is the baby strapped in? Is it
or should we be looking in the water? Like, I didn't know what to do.
Acosta's Subaru SUV is upturned and partially submerged in the canal when Acosta's uncle arrives. He jumps into the water, helping Acosta get out of the vehicle, but is unable to find 4-year-old Reagan. A neighbor describes seeing Juliet Acosta and her uncle standing on top of the submerged vehicle, but there's no sign of the little girl. The neighbor asks if the child is in the car or in the water, but Acosta doesn't provide an answer.
That from our friends at CBS 13 Sacramento. Straight out to special guest joining us, Nina Burns, reporter KOVR CBS 13 in Sacramento.
Yeah, we had this happened where I'm from, Tinsel. There was no parent in the car. It was teenage kids. There were 6 of them in the vehicle. It was the SUV. The one girl was not supposed to be driving and was driving very irately high at a high speed. Went to turn the corner and rolled the SUV into a creek, which was pretty deep. And they were upside down. They couldn't get out. And all 6 of the kids passed on. 5 of them. One of them got out and tried to go get help. And the other 5 passed away. Horrible, horrible. They were all friends with my kids in high school. So yeah, that was beyond horrible. I understand exactly what you're talking about there, Tinsel. So I understand, Angel, 100%.
Sacramento. Nina, thank you for being with us. First of all, I'm trying to get my mind around leaving a crash with your child in the back seat strapped in the water so you can go take a drunken bath. But first things first, tell me about the crash itself. What happened, Nina?
So it was March 8th. It was a Sunday. And what we've heard is that she was leaving her uncle's house right by the canal. It was only about 900 feet, I would say. And she drove it straight in. The uncle did dive in, saved her. They went to the surface. As you heard earlier, the witness said she saw the uncle jump in and retrieve the mother. 20 minutes later, she realized the daughter was still in the car. And that's when the sheriff stopped.
Wait.
Why didn't he save the baby
Exactly.
first before the mother? That's what you do.
Yeah.
Any accident scenes we've ever been on, we always save women and children before men, and children before mothers, or children before women. Sorry. Yeah, she was, I believe, Tinsel. So yeah, why would you jump in and save her and not the baby first? That's crazy to me. Something ain't right. I agree, Scott.
Yes, Tinsel, she was drunk.
Yeah. Lisa said, I don't think she knew she was there. See? Nope.
Wait, hold on, Nina. So the uncle, that's the home that DUI mom had been at, and she leaves there. The crash occurred. I want to hear about how that crash went down. What exactly happened? I mean, driving along and suddenly you're in the water. There has to be something in between.
You would assume, but all of the witnesses heard the crash. I mean, it was pretty late at night. All we know is when they saw the car go into the canal. That's what we're still trying to figure out exactly how she went straight on into that canal. I mean, the road is completely to the right.
Welcome,
we do look
Raquel.
at the screen. I mean, it is nowhere near now.
Nina Burns, I'm learning a little bit. Listen.
Juliet Acosta is driving home from a party with her 4-year-old daughter, Reagan Heron, buckled into her car seat in the back of the Subaru SUV, driving south on Arlberg Road.
Well, there's the first red flag that this is an idiot, driving drunk from a party home with your child in the car.
Well, why did she have her daughter at a party to begin with that late at night?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. She does. She's such a beautiful little thing. Absolutely.
Road, Acosta is not in control of her vehicle as she drives onto the shoulder of the road on the left-hand side, sideswiping a pole, pushing her vehicle back onto the asphalt. Acosta continues south and fails to make a turn, driving up an embankment and crashing into an irrigation canal along Canal Bank Road. The sound of the crash into the pole and into the water is loud enough to get the attention of those living nearby, including Acosta's uncle and a neighbor who head to the canal to see if they can help.
Wow. Okay. I'm hearing maybe 5 to 7 times the crash and the daughter's drowning death could have been avoided. Straight out to joining me, Nina Burns. You just heard joining us, KOVR CBS 13. Bill Garcia is with us, owner of Bill Garcia Investigative Services in this jurisdiction. Critical. Bill, in your jurisdiction, what's the blood alcohol necessary for a DUI charge?
It's 0.08, and obviously she was at least 3 times that amount.
Oh, you're seeing a shot right now.
Good God. And you put a baby in the car with you, you stupid piece of shit. No.
Now, the so-called DUI mom, Juliet Acosta. There she is when pregnant with 3 friends. Okay, I'm listening to this crash, 0.08. How is it we've got so many cases where you mix a mom with a car, with booze and water, and somehow they live and the baby dies? It just always seems to be that way. Also joining me in addition to Nina and Bill Garcia, special guest Kimberly Cockrell. You know her well, victim service manager at Mothers.
Yep, that's got to be it, Alicia. That's the only thing that makes any damn sense. Is he probably had no idea, especially if the vehicle's upside down. You know what I mean? It does make some sense there. So yeah, I agree with you. Welcome back, Tanny. You don't have to apologize. I'm glad you're legal now. That's what my next statement was going to be, Moonlit. What about these friends? You just said, okay, you can leave now and take that baby in the car with you, knowing you probably can't even stand up straight. Nope. Hi, Taylor. I made I6. What does that mean? What does that even mean? I don't know. Welcome, Summer. Good to see you today. Agreed. 100%. I feel so bad for him if that's the case. 100%. That's just unbelievable to me. I couldn't imagine. Yeah, 100%. The mother better. Oh, that's okay, Taylor. Welcome, hon. Thank you for joining us. I didn't know what I6 meant. Sorry.
That's a thought, Alicia. Did she leave the baby in the car the whole time she was at the party?
I wouldn't doubt it. At this point, I wouldn't doubt it. But then again, we don't know what kind of a party it was. It could have been a kid's birthday card party that they all got hammered at. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Late at night, though? A kid's party?
Well, it started off that way. I'm not saying it was a kid's party per se. I'm just giving like an example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe a cookout or just to get together or something. And their kids were all playing together. And then she decides to go home after she's smashed and maybe picked up at the sitters. That's a good one too. Got me stumped. I don't know. But either way, if she was 3 times illegal in it, that had to be visible.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You know what I mean, Mama Bear?
Yeah.
Definitely had to be something you could look at her and go, okay, you ain't taking that baby anywhere. I don't care who would.
Exactly.
No. Nope. Jesus.
Drunk driving, who lost her best friend to a drunk driver as well. Kimberly, thank you for being with us. Did you hear all the points during that scenario where the baby, Reagan, could have been saved? Instead, I haven't even gotten to the fact that mom goes takes a drunken bath while the baby's drowning, while the baby's upside down, pinned with a seatbelt. Can you imagine what the baby was going through? What the little girl screaming for mommy? I'm sure.
Okay, Nancy.
Jesus Christ, Nancy. Like, why does she have to do that? Kind of just
I
tell
don't
the
know,
story
but
and go forward. Good God. Sadistic psycho.
Gone. Listen to this. Kimberly, okay. The child's buckled into the back seat of the Subaru SUV. Driving south, she drives onto the shoulder of the road, I'm guessing in a boozy fit, on the left-hand side. So she crosses across the lanes into oncoming traffic. She sideswipes a pole. That should have been enough right there for her to hit the brakes, but that didn't happen. The vehicle gets back onto the asphalt, careens back onto the asphalt. She then keeps driving instead of just hitting the brakes, failing to make a turn, instead driving up an embankment. What you couldn't see, basically the mountain. She drives up an embankment and then crashes into an irrigation canal. The sound of the crash was so loud, the crash into the pole. Remember that original crash into the pole and then into the water, that neighbors all run out to find out what happened. How many points were there, Kimberly Cockrell, in just that scenario where the baby's life could have been saved by DUI mom?
Numerous. The first being that she should have never put that baby in the car with her. Never. She should have never been intoxicated behind the wheel. She should never have had her daughter in that car. As a mother, I do not understand this. How, number one, she would do those actions, but how you would leave the scene with your child. You know your child is in that water. You know you put your child in that water. And you leave there and go take a bath. The irony of that is something that I have never, the circumstances of this in my 32 years of dealing with mothers against drunk driving and representing them, that I have ever heard in my life. I have never heard circumstances this egregious.
Guys, not only.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that, Moon, that she does resemble Kaylee Gonzalez a little bit, the mother, and at least in that with the glasses on. It is beyond sad, Summer. I agree.
Did she have so many points during the driving incident to save her daughter's life, just 4 years old? But think about the lead up, because Kimberly, I often hear in court, it was just an accident. It's not an accident. Driving drunk and crashing is not an accident. I've handled plenty of vehicular homicide cases. And this is what I would argue to a jury. Was it an accident that you went into the bar to start with? Was it? Was it an accident you had too much to drink at dinner? Did somebody hold your mouth open and force the alcohol down your mouth? No. You did that all on your own. That was your decision to get another drink and another drink and another drink. That's not a crime. I don't care. It was your decision to get the car keys. That was a decision. That was no accident. It was her decision to rustle the keys out of her pocketbook or wherever she kept them, to walk to the car, to strap her daughter into the car. What? That was an accident? No. She strapped Reagan into the back seat in a car seat for safety. It was her decision to open her door, get in, put the key in the ignition, turn the ignition, reverse it, and put it in drive and put her foot on the gas. None of that was an accident. This is a DUI, vehicular homicide crash with intent. What I don't get, Kimberly, is why DUI crashes, fatalities, are not considered to be murder, because there's so much intent.
I agree with you. I absolutely wish that every single one of these cases could be charged with murder. In the state of South Carolina, where I am, we don't have.
They absolutely should be charged with murder, but remains innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Okay.
Have that option. I am very glad that the state of California, where this woman committed this crime, has that option, because that's something we just don't have. But everyone should be considered murder.
To Derek Smith joining me, high-profile lawyer who has handled plenty of moms, let me just say, that are not strangers to the criminal justice system. I remember your last one where mommy went to Puerto Rico and left her daughter to starve in a playpen. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. And I'm sure a lot of people are grateful you do it, not me, but them. Derek Smith joining me, as I said, high-profile lawyer at dwsmithlegal.com. Derek, how are you going to explain away the boozy bath? Mommy leaves the scene and runs a hot bath Nobody did that for her. Strips down and takes a bath while the baby is still out there hanging upside down from a car seat in a canal.
Those actions aren't necessarily the easiest to defend, obviously. However, we need to get into actually
I
how
certainly
her
hope you're not going to say
intoxication.
that to the jury, Derek.
Well, it's a lead
Yeah,
up. You
guys, I
get
don't
in.
know really how to explain what she did, but let me give it a stab.
You have to
Hit me,
get
man.
into.
Give me your best
You got to get
shot.
into how the intoxication happened. Now, you mentioned before, maybe somebody wasn't pouring booze down her throat. Maybe they were. Maybe something was slipped into her drink that we don't know about.
Okay, wait.
Maybe
I
she
have to
started
actually
some new
see
medication.
his demeanor when he says she was force-fed alcohol. Okay, I'm sorry. Would you repeat that? Maybe she was force-fed the alcohol by who? Her uncle?
We don't know yet. It's still early in the investigation, isn't it? I mean, there could have been a new medication that she
Shut
was
up.
on. There could have been some other factors that led into her getting to that state that she was in prior to operating the vehicle. But like I said, whether it's new medication, whether something was in her drink, whether she was involuntarily taking something she thought was something else that caused this reaction chemically inside her body. And then the second part, after the crash, was there some trauma? Did she sustain any injuries that maybe she had no idea where she was after that crash happened?
Sorry, but I don't care. You shouldn't have gotten in the car with the baby in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay. There's my issue. If you got some trauma, then you probably should have. Okay. This is bullshit.
She didn't know what was going on. That's another possibility that we don't know yet. That's why you kind of got to get into these cases. I understand the frustration and the just anger. Absolutely, you shouldn't be drinking and driving. Absolutely, you should not be having a child in your car after consuming alcohol and then driving. However, was she fully understanding what was going on inside her body at that time? What do we know? Was there a toxicology report? Was there kind of blood work done? Do we?
Well, she fully understood taking the drinks that she took to get to that point, I'm guessing. And everybody else around her, I'm sorry, and I'm not. I know people are held accountable for their own mistakes, but if there's multiple people around you, in some sense, they should have some accountability for allowing her to walk out that house. Not saying criminal charges, but it definitely needs to be talked about. Okay, welcome, Miss Sherry. You never need late passes, dear. You're always, whatever you do is absolutely fine. No worries.
We know what was actually happening inside her when this was going on, and that's what we need to find out.
We do know that toxicology was run. It's a 0.15. That's almost double the legal limit of 0.08. Now, hold on.
I think it should be charged, probably vehicular manslaughter per se, but it should be charged as murder one, in my opinion. I know they can't. I'm just saying it should be.
I love to interrupt you, but
and I'll be honest with you, it actually, in my opinion, should be considered in some senses premeditated murder because you drank knowing what you were going to do, and that's drive home with a child in the car, and that's a premeditation as far as I'm concerned. And I know it won't go. I know it doesn't fit, but I wish damn well you could.
But I held back because I was taking notes so furiously. Let's just go down your list. Okay. DUI mom force-fed alcohol. Okay, let me just scratch that off right at the beginning. Okay.
It would be considered vehicular. I think it could be considered vehicular manslaughter or involuntary manslaughter, which I don't think is strong enough for that. It should be murder one, in my opinion, or premeditated, but they won't do that because it doesn't fit the bracket, however they put that together. I can't think right now. I'm a little irritated. Sorry. Anyway. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Raquel. So sorry.
Now, here's something that the state better be ready for.
Thank you, Rise.
A
Thank
new
you for being.
medication. However, if it didn't show up in the toxicology report, I can go ahead and scratch that off. Now you've got head trauma. You're brilliant. Like Dr. Evil brilliant. Trauma to the head. That might work, but was her head examined at the hospital? And if so, and it wasn't injured, I'm going to scratch that off. But you've got two things going for you right now. You've got a new medication argument and you've got trauma to the head. I'm totally, as I'm sure you understand, Derek Smith, discounting that her uncle held her mouth open and force-fed her alcohol. I'm also discounting that he slipped a roofie in her drink. Yeah, that's too far out there. Plus, you can bring the uncle on. The state will bring on the uncle to rebut such a claim. But as to new meds and trauma to the head, at least you've got something to say to the jury. But as the prosecutor, I would counter how she left the scene on her own, went to the bathroom, took off her clothes, ran a bath. Did she put Calgon in it or bath salts? I'm just curious. Anyway, gets in the bath. Did she take a Bic and, I don't know, because every move she makes adds intent.
Okay, this isn't funny by any means, and you're an asshole for acting that way. I'm sorry. This one has pissed me off more than any of the ones that she's covered ever. She needs to stop.
All I know, she clipped her toenails. I don't know what happened in that bathtub, but I'm going to find out. And when I do find out, I'm going to make a big poster of everything she did that shows she knew what she was doing. Goes straight to the bathroom, stops up the tub, turns on the hot water, strips down, gets in. That shows a certain degree of coherence to me. That said, back to the facts, something that will not raise my blood pressure like Derek Smith is right now. What else do we know about the night that 4-year-old Reagan drowned dead, suspended from a car seat?
Pronounced drowned, not drowned dead.
In mommy's car while mommy was clipping her toenails in the bathtub. Listen.
How deep is the canal? And is it possible that the 4-year-old is still inside the vehicle?
Juliet Acosta is already gone by the time a Stanislaus County deputy arrives, but her daughter hasn't been located. The deputy immediately jumps into the water to see if the little girl is still inside the vehicle and finds Reagan Heron still buckled in her seat. With help from Acosta's uncle, the men are able to break the little girl free and bring her to the surface. The deputy performs CPR as an ambulance arrives to rush the little girl to the hospital.
Trigger warning. Content may include sensitive or violent content not suitable for all viewers. Feel free to step out if needed.
While mommy is letting Calgon take her away. That from our friends CBS 13 Sacramento. How could a beautiful young first grade teacher be stabbed 20 times, including in the
Modesto, inside.
He first named it a homicide. At the facts panel, but right now, I don't know how often she's not missing. They see what's happening. They can't find a car seat. They always have going through.
You're correct. It is a nightmare. Cars underwater are horrible. And, when you watch on TV, they always do filming at a pool or in some very clear water situation. And then people have masks on and can see. So you've got dark water. You don't have a mask on. It's dark. You're feeling around. And a car seat is hard enough.
I'm going to tell you guys, it's probably one of the scariest type of rescues that there are. Unless you know exactly what you're looking for, to go in the water to pull somebody out of a vehicle or to check to make sure that there's nobody in the vehicle, you don't know what you're going to come upon sometimes. And it's very scary anticipating what could be in that vehicle. I've done many of those water rescues because we worked on a lake, and a lot of people would go off the causeway drinking or speeding or just whatever. And we've done quite a few of them, and quite a few times we pulled people out. A couple of times people got out themselves, thank God. But it's very scary because, like I said, the water's so murky. You got to get inside the situation, the vehicle, and assess the situation. Sometimes you are very surprised as to what you come on to, and it's really scary, honestly. Bill, Nancy does little beyond fomenting hate. You should consider that. In my honest opinion, there are other sources of fact as a caring meatball. I couldn't find anything else on another show like this, Bill. So I'm sorry about this. My apologies.
Enough in dry land. I mean, if you've been a parent, you know that getting a child in and out of a car seat is always some sort of struggle. But then when you're in the water, anything that is in your car, I want you to go to your car this afternoon and later today and just look around at anything that's loose. A box of Kleenex, a soda can, a coffee cup, whatever. Anything that's loose in a car is going to be floating around, and it's going to be getting in your way, and it's going to be bumping into you. And so now you've got, you're in the water. It's dark. You're trying to feel your way into the back seat. You're trying to figure out where the buckles are. You've got clothing. You've got a jacket. You have a blanket that's blocking you. It's just the word nightmare is very appropriate. That's the situation that you're going into, and you're working against the clock. You're trying, and we've all done this. We've all tried to do things very, very quickly or fast, and you make mistakes. So you have to slow down to be more effective, but you want to be moving as quickly as possible to also.
Agreed. Depending on how long a vehicle's been in the water, it'll sink to the very bottom, and it gets embedded in the silt, and it's very hard to move things within that mess. And it was always very nerve-wracking because you can get stuck in there yourself. That's not fun. I'm always petrified of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it can be a very, very scary situation. It just very bad, very horrible. Oh yeah. I pushed those. If you remember, Mama Bear, whenever the AWP, as much as I hate to advertise them, came out with those window breaker things when we were doing Kylie Rodney's case.
Yep.
I was pushing those window breaker things like crazy. Because it's a real thing, folks. You just don't know when it could happen. And better prepared than not. So absolutely, Raquel, I agree.
To be effective, and you're racing against the clock. You're hoping you can get this person out, this child out, to do life-saving measures, and you're fighting against all of these hazards. You're fighting against the dark water, and nothing I've read said that they were on scuba. It was people just coming in and jumping up and down. So they're doing this while holding their breath and trying to do this, and then having to go back up and then breathe and breathe and breathe and go back down. Sticking your head inside of a car, is dangerous. You can get stuck, and if you're doing it on a breath hold, it's a.
Yes, Miss Wisdom is absolutely right, guys. They sell these 2-for-1 deals. I carried it all firefighters carried them as a tool, a seatbelt cutter with a window breaker on the end of it, and they're not expensive. And I'm telling you, you don't know. Any situation can happen if you live anywhere near water. Even if you don't, if you're on vacation, it's something to have. You can put it on your keychain. Just saying. Please invest in it. If anything else, it's a very good investment because you just.
I mean, this was just a retention pond. It's not that deep.
Right, but it's still because
it's
what happens? Yeah. If you happen to roll upside down, you're stuck. Okay, and the water flowing into the car pressurizes things to where it's hard to get the doors open. You can't do that. So on and so forth. Robert said, I don't know if it's my YouTube feed, but I'm typing and poof, you have had questions yourself on the algorithm. It's about YouTube, but depending on what you're typing, Robert, it's happened the past few days too. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know what you were trying to type, sir. And it shouldn't be doing that. I'm seeing some of your stuff though. Where did I see the last one here? Where did it go? Right here. 4th DUI less than a week 5 with kids in a car. Jesus, that's insane. Is there a message popping up, Robert, like in red that is just saying that it doesn't want to allow it to go through? Because I had that happen to me myself today 3 times.
I've had that happen in the last couple of weeks several times. So
yeah, so I don't know. Something's not right with YouTube. It's been glitching. It's been doing this, been doing that, sir. So my apologies. We're not going to remove comments, obviously. Yeah, there's nothing being deleted at all. Are you in? Look at the top of your chat, sir, and does it say live chat or top chat? Thank you, by the way, Mama Bear, for the back chat.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there should be a little drop-down link at the top of your chat. It'll say live chat and top chat. Click and make sure that it's in live chat if it's not. And exactly, Tinso says it too. The auto mod, the bot that they use is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I tried to push and it's been with multiple channels.
Huh.
That's strange. Try, not saying it'll work, but try to go out, Robert, and come back in and see if that it does change sometimes and help. Try that and see what happens, sir. If not, I'm really sorry. I promise you it's happening to us as well as creators. So
Are you serious, Raquel?
YouTube has a new feature they're trying out. It's a say hi feature. What's that? Oh, Jesus, Bonnie, that's horrible. Yeah, they're probably updating again, which is when all these stupid things happen.
A horrible situation. And my hat is off to any person that did that. They were brave, and they took control of the situation, and they were trying to save a life. And my hat is truly off to those people that did that.
No, I'm just trying to take in what you just said, Ben Dobrin. Dobrin, ER, emergency response diving instructor, trainer, police, diver, emergency services diver. You're right. It's actually easier if you're equipped with a dive suit than to free dive. In other words, without any air sustaining equipment, you can only be in as under the water as long as you can hold your breath, and you're in the water. It's my understanding that
Yeah, that's absolutely it right there. Like Charlotte just said here, Thomas Sharp, my live chat goes off and I have to go out and come back in, and then it puts you back through. It's ridiculous, but it does work sometimes, sir. Again, my apologies that you're having such a difficult time in here.
the SUV was upside down with the little girl hanging suspended upside down from her seatbelt. You have to go in and you see the little girl amidst what you just said, the box of Kleenex, the shoes, the jacket, all the things that children travel with in the car. It's all floating around. And then you see her. But you can only stay under for so long. I mean, how long, Ben, can you stay underwater without coming up for air?
You know, if you sit in a pool and hold your breath and are really calm, you know, you can hold it for 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever. That's not the situation. They're diving down into a stressful situation. I didn't know the car was upside down. Upside down is a whole different ballgame. So they're having to pull themselves down to the window or to the door. You burn up your air very quickly. If they could do this for 30 seconds or 45 seconds at a time, I'd be impressed.
Yes, and you need to be able to stay below water and keep yourself under to do what you're doing. And a lot of us as SAR, search and rescue and stuff like that, as first responders, don't always use scuba gear for this, okay? Because sometimes it gets in your way, sometimes it's too much, and sometimes it's not needed because it's just a quick scenario. So yeah, you got to go up and down a lot because you can't always get the situation the way it, within that situation. You can't always handle the situation within that realm with what you typically would. Now, a lot of times they would bring in the people that specialize in these things, but that's time consuming. So a lot of times as first responders, we just would go in, take off most of our gear and get in and go try to do what we could do. They don't recommend it, but it happens all the time, because then they got to call on a dive team. That's time consuming. Okay. We don't have that time sometimes. So yeah, 1 minute is a very long time. I could probably pull off 45 seconds max, I think. Now it's probably less because I was a smoker and I had smoke inhalation and all that. But still, when you got to wait on a dive team to show up, it just doesn't work. What I'm saying is they limit creators. I've attempted to like and share, and I can't really.
Well,
You
that's
can't
not cool.
You can't hit the like button here. Huh. Are you kidding
What?
me?
That doesn't make sense. That's weird.
That's very weird.
Oh my gosh, Bonnie. Really?
Yeah, that's a thing too sometimes because the rush of it. You can't. Thank you, Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a big problem. It does cause it that. I'm sorry, Robert, and I appreciate you telling me because that doesn't make sense. That's a strange thing. I've never heard of that before.
Hmm.
Kent, Kearney, thank you, sir. And good. I appreciate that very much.
You know, your body is burning through all that oxygen. Your body's saying you have to breathe, and you can't do it. And they're burning it. They're under stress. They're using their muscles. They're physically pulling themselves down to look in that car. The seat is not where you expect it. An upside down car, upside down anything, everything. Our brains are not wired to handle things upside down. So their brains are trying to look for a car seat and a car that's of normal, upright. They were in a horrible situation trying to do this, but
that's the biggest problem with these guys that I found personally in my interactions and my experiences is that you get disoriented because you're underwater, you're upside down trying to deal with the situation right side up. The water is very murky and dirty. You have silt, you have all this stuff to try to deal with, and it gets in your way. It prevents a quick and ample situation as a rescue. It's just not a good thing. So it's very disorienting.
Burning through that. If you hold your breath, you can't do it very long sitting still. They weren't sitting still. And so it's impressive that they did that.
Guys,
that's what I was trying to explain. Even if it's only a foot deep, 3 feet deep, like Cap said, we've had creeks. I'll say creek because you guys don't know what a creek is, but with like this much water in them that people have rolled over in. And when they're trapped, and the water gets in there, they can't find a way to get out sometimes, and it will definitely take your life. It's very sad.
More do we know? I can imagine the EMTs jumping in the water in the dead of night. The neighbor shows up screaming, "Where's the little girl? Where's the little girl?" Mommy is gone taking a bath. It's beyond comprehension. Listen to this.
I can't get it out of my head, so every time I close my eyes, that's all I can see is the little girl coming out of the water.
With 4-year-old Reagan Heron in the back of an ambulance, deputies search for the mother, the driver of the car, Juliet Acosta. Even though her uncle lives nearby, Acosta is found at a nearby residence, reportedly taking a bath while her daughter is still missing.
From CBS 13 Sacramento, Nina Burns is joining me, reporter KOVR CBS 13 there in Sacramento. Nina, where is the report coming from that
Welcome, official.
cops found her taking a bath?
Still waiting for that answer. They told us it wasn't the uncle's house, a nearby resident. I mean, this did happen in Hickman, which is only about 15 minutes away from her hometown, Oakdale. So she could have had a friend. We're not sure. The defense attorney and the DA, neither of us are exactly telling us where she was taking that bath, just that she was taking a bath.
I wonder if she went back to the place she left the party from. You know what I mean? I don't know how far away it was from the party, but she could have went back to that place. I can't imagine her just going into some random house. ARW? I don't know what that means, Robert. I'm sorry, bud. Well, I said it wasn't the uncle's house, Alicia. Raquel's in Sacramento. Gotcha. ARW. Do you know what that means, Bear?
ARW.
I don't know. I don't know. It's okay, Lisa. Don't apologize. You know better than that. That's what I'm guessing, Raquel. And again, that just makes me angrier because you put a child in a car. And other people watched you do this, in my opinion, and should have stopped it. It completely and totally could have been avoided. That's all I'm saying.
I'm also trying to figure out how deep the canal is, Nina, at that juncture, because it can be very deep, 20, 30 feet deep at one spot and less so at another spot. We understand the car was upside down. Is that correct?
We have heard as well from the DA that the car was not upright. Now, I'm not sure if it was exactly upside down on its side. We just know it was not upright.
So, Ben Dobrin, how would that add to the confusion of the EMTs if the car's upside down and the child's hanging upside down?
It had a lot of confusion. You know, your brain is wired. We see things every day. We see cars upright. We see people, you know, babies in car seats in a particular, you know, orientation. Upside down changes everything. And then in dark water, you know, you're feeling around. We naturally feel on the floor for the seat. We put our hand on the floor and rub our hand up to the seat. Once we're in the seat, then we're going to be searching for the car seat. Once we find.
Congratulations, official. Welcome to the sauce. Much appreciated. Got another meatball jumping in the sauce with us.
Congratulations.
It's awesome. That is so awesome.
Just a note real quick that I saw in another article, that Reagan was eventually pulled from the car by her uncle.
Yeah, they were saying that I think it was a firefighter or a police officer and her uncle went in. But how long afterwards was it? It was 20 plus minutes, right?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm a meatball officially. I didn't know your community was the meatball crew. Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yes, we are. We are. And welcome to the sauce. We appreciate you very much. Yeah, she definitely looks a mess here, which good. I hope you cried your eyes out. Deborah Stevens, a sad story, passed on the phone with 911. That's horrible. I think I've heard about that. That's another good point too, Raquel. I'm questioning that myself. How did the uncle know she had wrecked? You know, did he hear it? Was he close, or did she call somehow? Or I don't know what the hell the deal was, but yeah. Okay, at least he just said he lived near the crash and heard it. They said the whole neighborhood heard the crash. It was so loud, so that could be why. I'm stealing that. Well, it's great to have you in the sauce, official. We appreciate it. The more people in here to spill the sauce with us, the better. We have big pots too. Don't worry.
Find the car seat. We're going to be looking for the buckles. That orientation changes. Now I'm not searching on the floor. I'm searching on the ceiling, basically, for that car seat. And so it just changes everything. Your mindset has to completely change. And one of the things, you know, when cars go in the water, you know, it depends on what type of car it is, but most cars have an engine in the front. That will sink first. Depending on the type of car, you know, a car with a trunk, the trunk will float for a while. An SUV doesn't have a trunk, but you're going to have an air bubble that will make it float for a while. And then when it starts to settle, they usually don't settle on all four tires. A lot of times they will roll over just because of the orientation. That motor goes down first, and then it'll just roll onto its roof. That's a very common thing for cars when they go in the water, depending on the depth of the water. If the water's shallow enough, you know, shallower than the length of the car, oftentimes when the motor will hit before while the back end is still floating. So then it will just rest on the four tires. But if it's deeper, very often they will roll. And like you just said, sometimes they'll roll on the roof, but a lot of times they'll just roll on their side, which makes it even more difficult because now you're going down into a car and looking. You don't have access to both sides of the doors. You only have the doors that are exposed on what is now the top end. So, I mean, the orientation of the car makes it, you know, it's an unknown is what you're going to find. And so whether it's on its roof or on its side, it makes it very difficult for people coming in, especially if those people are free diving. That just is an extreme situation.
I can't get it out of my head, so every time I close my eyes, that's all I can see is the little girl coming out of the water.
Our friends, CBS 13, Sacramento. Please join us on our mission to find missing people
in a bathtub.
EMTs desperately perform CPR on 4-year-old girl Reagan and then load her into an ambulance and race her to the hospital. This is what happens.
Juliet Acosta is not at the accident scene when deputies and rescue personnel arrive. As her daughter is still trapped in her car seat underwater, Acosta has gone to a nearby home, and reportedly, when deputies arrive, she's taking a bath. Acosta is arrested and charged with felony DUI when she's found to be nearly 3 times over the legal blood alcohol limit. Her daughter, 4-year-old Reagan Herron, dies the next day at an area hospital. Acosta is initially jailed on the felony DUI charge and released on bond.
Moms plus children plus car plus water. The seminal case, combining all of those into a deadly recipe, this.
Yes, ma'am. There's a lady, she come up that door, and some guy jumped into a red light with her car, with her 2 kids in it, and he took off, and she got out of the car here at our house. And he's got the kids? Yes, ma'am, in her car. And she's real hysterical, and I just thought I need to call law and get them back.
Robert, what do you mean by live feed access? We're live right now. If that's what you're saying, I don't know what you mean, sir. A little more detailed, maybe. I'm not quite sure exactly what you want me, what that is.
Down here.
Susan Smith.
Or are you talking about the link to get to the show? Maybe. If that's what you mean, we can put the link. Well, you're in here already, so it wouldn't. I don't think it would change it.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
That wouldn't make sense either. I'm not 100% sure what you mean, sir.
Her name will live in infamy forever. There's so many, there are almost too many to count. Of course, there's Ebony Wilkerson. Can't have the conversation without throwing her in.
Are they saying help?
Oh, the membership thing. Yeah. Our members link, one of the mods will drop it for you, sir, and you can click that link and it'll let you become one of the members there, sir. My apologies for misunderstanding you.
If they're saying help, that's different.
Video captures the moments a minivan drifts deeper and deeper into the Atlantic off Daytona Beach. Inside the van, a pregnant mom and her 3 small children. Witnesses say the vehicle was moving along the water's edge, then suddenly plunged into the ocean. The children can be heard screaming, "Help, help us." Bystanders rush toward the scene, pulling 2 children out before realizing there is a baby in a car seat. The children tell police, "Mom tried to kill us."
That from our friends at ID, Investigation Discovery, and of course, Diane Schuler.
I have a family here that thinks that they might have a medical emergency of their sister. There's 3 kids in the car, 5. They're trying to locate her. The girl just called in distress. They said that the aunt is driving very erratically. We think she's sick, and we're trying to locate the kid.
She lives, the children die. Joining me, in addition to the guests you've met so far, Dr. Angela Arnold, a renowned psychiatrist in the Atlanta jurisdiction at AngelaArnoldMD.com. Dr. Angie, thank you for being with us. The mixture of moms, cars, alcohol, it never goes away. It happens over and over and over, Dr. Angie.
I know. I mean, Nancy, people, and every time we hear a story like this, it's heart-wrenching. There is a comment that I would like to make about the child being strapped in the car seat. Nancy, who put the child in the car seat? Because if that mother straps the baby in the car seat, then she knew enough to put the baby in the car seat, even in her drunken state. So what made her forget about the baby between the time she put the baby in the car seat and she crashed the car? No one's talked about that.
And another issue, Joe Scott Morgan with me, death investigator, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University.
Holy crap, Miss Cherry just gifted 5 memberships to the cafe.
Holy meatballs.
I know. Many meatballs. Do you see who got them, Bear? I can't.
Yes, let me flip my... Oh, on the wrong screen. Hold on.
No worries. Thank you so much, Miss Wisdom. That's so very generous, and I'm so grateful to you. God bless.
Looks like Ache Artist. Under and Over It can maybe? No, hold on. Nope. Kate Pruitt, Amber, Gen 7, and Ulysses Sanchez.
That is awesome. Thank you again, Miss Sherry. Congrats to the new meatballs. Welcome to the sauce. It's great to have you here. Many meatballs to help us spill the sauce every day. We appreciate it so much. Much love to you, Sherry. You know I love you. I appreciate you very much. So generous, guys. That's awesome. We've gained so many new members over the past few weeks. It's amazing. I love it.
Author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon. Star of a hit new series, Body Bags, with Joe Scott Morgan. I would say you probably performed over 1,000 death scene investigations. Could you explain what the child goes through in a drowning? Many people believe drowning is the single worst death possible, much less for a 4-year-old child, Joe Scott.
Yeah, we're talking about a vehicle that is inverted, Nancy, so it's on the roof. Just imagine, if you will, you're laying on a table on your back and your head is hanging off of it. Someone takes a pitcher of water and pours it directly into your nostrils and into your mouth. That's the position she would have been in, Nancy, because water is going to seek the lowest point of gravity in that vehicle. It's not like some movie where you have this air bubble above the head and people are kind of gasping for air up there as the water rises. That's not going to be the case. And one more thing about this. Do you remember, you had mentioned early on, I know you do, where she apparently struck a utility pole prior to going in the canal? That's going to compromise the structural integrity of the vehicle. So now I don't know for a fact, but she might have a gap in the car already when she goes in. And when we talk about baby Reagan here, the thing about it is this: upon that initial impact, that child, if she was asleep at that time, she will be awakened with a jolt. She's going to start shallow breathing already out of fear. And then when the car goes into the canal and begins to invert, now she's going to be tasked with trying to fight for her life while being strapped in and inverted as water begins to fill the cabin. Now, I can tell you this: at autopsy, one of the things that we're going to see with this child is that her lungs will be heavier than normal. And here's something that people don't think about as well: there would be water actually in her stomach because she's going to be ingesting water. She's gulping like this, just trying to do anything she can to survive. And of course, there's
case, it was Scott Peterson. He goes on the run, bleaches his hair, uses a car in his mother's name, a Mercedes, as I recall, with $10,000 cash, camping equipment, water filtration equipment, and a technical legal term, crap ton of Viagra with fake IDs, using his brother's, I believe, driver's license. But the family says, no, he wasn't fleeing. He just wanted to go play a round of golf, and he didn't want the media to follow him. He needs Viagra for that. Family helping their loved one. In this case, the father is found with the so-called DUI mom, Juliet Acosta. Joining me, as you know, from CBS 13 KOVR, Nina Burns. Nina, what have you learned? You were in court yesterday. What did you learn?
I did talk to Acosta's defense attorney, who told me, for starters, the reason she was in San Francisco was she was accompanying her father on a business trip. His business, she wanted to be a family. That's why she was there. And he says his qualm with the DA then releasing the statement that she was trying to flee is that he was informed the day before that she was going to be charged with second-degree murder. He told them she would turn herself in at 8 a.m. on Friday. They came in much earlier to San Francisco that Friday and then arrested her.
Nina,
Okay, so she got charged with second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter, DUI, causing injury, permitting child. It's showing all the to suffer under circumstances likely to cause great bodily injury or death, resisting, delaying, or obstructing a public good. Every charge she could get. That's amazing. Good to see it.
So that Friday and then arrested her.
Nina, I'm sure you've heard the name Sean Combs. He was going to turn himself in.
Okay, we're done. She's just going to keep rambling. So anyway, we know what she was. That's what I was waiting to see, is what the hell she was charged with and what happened. And we know. So that's awesome. That was one of your worst ones, Nancy. I'm sorry to say, but anyway.
Yeah, that was torture.
What the hell her problem was. This was horrible. But anyway, my apologies, guys. I didn't realize it would be that. I don't know why she's so morbid anymore. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any damn sense. Oh my God. Anyway, so I just wanted to show the situation, okay, that it happened and how horrible it was. Things like this need to be seen, but not at that cost. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, official, she said Viagra. I didn't quite catch all that because I was tuning her out, but I heard Viagra.
All right, guys, I want to show you something here real quick, and then we're going to be at the end of the show here. Just give me a quick second. My family's in the background dying eggs. That's why it's so noisy in the background. As I've been trying to do from show to show, I'm trying to show some Good Samaritan stuff. It's a lot more lighthearted than what some of the bad stuff that we watch. This is one or two circumstances here real quick, guys, that are just like that. And it's amazing.
Hold on. Phil, what? The genius just drove off with my phone on the roof of his car. Luckily, only a half mile down. and in the road. No more shattered than usual. Oh my goodness.
The genius is Bill's child.
Oh.
I love that she calls the child the genius. I love it. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad it didn't ruin it, Phil. That's all that matters.
Yep, I agree, Wisdom.
Oh yeah, I've had people say, "What's all the noise, Diego?" And I'm sorry, but this is my life, and I love my large family. So, all right, guys, so let's check these out, and then get a couple smiles and get out of here.
Engine was flooded, and stepping out into the powerful current was too dangerous. Thankfully, a real-life hero, a bus driver, came to their rescue. Before long, he safely transported them and other passengers to a secure location. Some people, seeing a burning building, would just make sure everyone's safe and move on. But not these guys. They knocked on every door and rescued animals that wouldn't have been able to escape on their own.
Come on, pup. Come on. It's okay. Come on. You're okay. Help me, Grant! Help me! Grab him!
All right, that's my place. Good.
Get that dog! Grab that dog!
God. Really does my heart good to see people doing stuff like this, because again, like I say, every time we watch these, it gives me hope in humanity and that people are still good out there. You know what I mean? So, and people, as much as I've seen this situation being on a house fire, many a times where people are trying to run back in. We're supposed to stop them. I've been swung at for doing that before, because we're not allowed to allow people to go in, and the people, they want my animals, I want my this, I want that. So it happens a lot. Right. It's a good thing the doors are unlocked. I agree with you.
You gonna pay for that? Huh? You gonna pay for that? Yeah. Where? Huh?
And a lot of people, that's another thing, guys, with house fires or any kind of fire, people don't really realize as a fire, you can't put that fire out until you ensure that there's nobody inside the house. You can't spray it with water if there's any possibility that anybody's inside, because that will absolutely, I hate to say it like this, but it will cook them, they call it, because it's steam. It makes the highest temperature steam you can imagine, and it will kill them immediately. So you have to go through the house as it's burning, or the building as it's burning, make sure everybody or every animal, whatever's out of there, and then you hit it with water. So it just keeps growing and growing and growing, makes it even harder. So to see people running into these places and grabbing animals and saving people is absolutely amazing. Scary, but amazing.
You gonna pay for it?
The perfect security team, a store clerk and a local elderly lady. Turns out that's all it takes to stop someone from stealing an entire shopping cart full of groceries.
Come on, bud. Come on.
Get out.
Come on.
Get out.
Take your and go off.
You just jack out the price for everybody else because of you.
You have to admire the courage of this woman. A video from Peru demonstrates that there's more than just strict discipline behind the uniform of police officers. There's a big, caring heart.
Yeah, very true, official. Any search and rescue that happens, you're on your knees. We were always on our knees, feeling around with a weapon, an axe, or something to make sure there's nobody in there. You don't stand up because it'll take you out immediately.
While the firefighters were still getting ready to put out the fire, a passing truck driver hauling a load of water stopped and solved the problem.
Well, that's one way to do it.
I've never seen that before. That's wild. Gee. That's awesome.
Okay.
Meanwhile, these guys are running around like crazy trying to pull their hoses off and the fire's out. I mean, that's good, but I'm sure they were
Right.
like,
That's what I was sitting here thinking. I was
right.
like, man, he's going to have it out before they even get the whole.
I've never seen that. That's pretty awesome. That's wild.
This waiter came up with a great way to break up the fight.
What the hell just happened? He goes out, breaks up the fight, and go, here, you want some pizza? What the
Pretty
hell?
much.
I've never seen that before in my life. That was great. That was awesome.
The entire beach community of Cape Cod came together to rescue a shark that had accidentally washed ashore.
Can you imagine the shark? Like, what the hell?
The shark was probably out of it.
That
It was
looked-
like,
yeah.
please, thank you.
Agreed. That. How did he get so far? Oh, the tide. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Oh, I see what it. I couldn't tell what animal it was there for a minute.
That's what I was struggling with. I couldn't see it until it moved backwards a little, and then
I think it's a goat. Maybe.
I know it's. I think it's a deer. It looks like it's got a full rack. You know what I mean, like antlers.
Looks awfully
Hold it.
small. Wait, I don't
Well,
know.
it could be a baby buck. Let me see.
Oh, bigger than I thought it was.
Nope, that's a full size buck.
Yes, it
That's a
is.
good sized one. Jesus, how did it get in there? That's nuts.
You're free. You're free. Oh, yes.
After finding out that the homeowner had lost her husband, the delivery driver stepped in to assist. Such a genuine act of humanity.
Good for you, dude. See, that's what I'm talking about, guys. I love this kind of stuff.
Sometimes, kindness is spraying a delivery worker with a hose on an unbearably hot day.
It's like, yeah, come on.
A guy came up with a surprising and unique way to use his excavator. He turned it into a fun attraction for kids.
it's a, oh, we gotta help this guy. It's an Oscar. We gotta help him out of the water. No, we gotta help him out. Dude, can you work circle back, man overboard? Go hard left. Let's get to him. Let's get to him again. Get to him. Get to him. Give him something he can grab onto. Give him throw him the. Good. He's totally. Let him relax. Let's all back off.
Aww.
Don't worry, buddy. You're good.
After the men pulled the bird out of the water and freed it from the trash it was tangled in, the osprey realized it was safe and even spent some time with its rescuers.
Come on, get airborne, buddy.
The neighbors rushed to put out the fire as if it were their own home.
Oh.
That's some awesome stuff. That
That's
stuff
pretty cool.
makes my heart happy for sure, guys. Good to see that there's good people out there still. Absolutely makes me happy. And this will be it for the day. We definitely need some laughs after having to deal with Nancy in her mouth. Let's see here. I love these, by the way. Let's see where I can find it here. 1 second here. Very cute and very fitting since tomorrow's Easter. All right.
Nothing's in it. Oh my God, there's lots of big nothing's in it. It's so amazing. It's so. Ah, dirty. That's a dirty egg. Daddy, is the Easter Bunny a girl or a boy?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think she is a girl.
Oh, okay.
She's so nice. I love her.
Really?
And she is a big Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a girl.
Oh.
Who's a big Easter Bunny? We must see her if she's a boy or a girl, because she is a girl.
I don't want to be the one to check.
Easter, happy bunny. Maybe a tooth fairy's coming too. I hope the Easter Bunny brings you rotten eggs, because you did take us on vacation.
Oh my! She said so. Bye, Felicia.
Damn. Did you see her face?
I did.
The look at the face, you guys. Look at that. Good God. That was great. Take on vacation. I hope you get rotten eggs. Good Lord, little
Felicia.
one. Yes. Easter Bunny ain't bringing you nothing. Right? Oh my God. That was great.
So bye, Felicia. Oh my goodness, your car! What? Oh my goodness! That's so many!
Keep your eyes open. Don't go too
Are you
fast.
leaving, Bonnie?
Are you out of here, Miss Bonnie? Oh, yes, ma'am. God bless, Bonnie. We love you. I hope to see you soon. Have a great day, dear.
Bye, honey. Love you.
Look all around. Look to your right. Look down.
Look to your right. Look to your right and down. Oh, this one.
What the heck? I think you should find me hide on the spider web. Oh my god. No, that is not a special one.
What'd she say?
Oh, there's nothing special in it. Move on to the next one.
Oh.
Jeez.
Are you gonna share?
No, you go have it, Daddy.
Wait, you don't want it?
Mom, do you like the broccoli?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, we can make a broccoli sandwich.
Oh, good idea.
Yes.
All right, well, maybe we'll save it and make a broccoli sandwich later.
Okay, Dad, then you hold it.
We'll set it down.
Broccoli and an
As much
egg?
as I love vegetables, that I would have been pissed if I was a child, opened that up and
Right?
found it. I'm just saying.
He looks confused.
Right, like what the hell?
Hey, Cassie.
Hey, Cass, that's hilarious.
I don't like broccoli.
Oh.
I'll set it right there.
I guess the Easter Bunny just wants you to eat healthy, huh?
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh no, he's just the eggs.
You got to give it to the parents for trying, but that ain't the way to do it. Just saying.
No.
That don't work. Sorry. My kids would have thrown that at me.
Seriously.
What the hell is this? Nope.
That
Good
money
God,
on the tree?
I think the Easter Bunny was drinking last night or something.
Is that money on the tree?
It looks like $5. Yeah. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, wait. There's a bunch. 5, 10. Shit, I need this tree.
Look, don't those leaves look fake?
Ain't even
Are those
looking.
leaves on the tree? Look. Leaves.
Bunny?
Is that a money tree? Wow.
Wait, I was right. Wait, Rosa.
I was right.
He's gonna rip it.
I want the tree.
Something's in it. Something's in it.
Oh, she's cute.
Well, you have to go find more.
Say Happy Easter and I can send it to Aunt Jen.
Happy Easter.
And did you get a lot of eggs?
I got a lot of eggs.
All right, yay.
I found some. I found a lot.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he got me these. I got this.
Oh, wait.
And this.
Oh my god, show me, what'd you
And
get?
I got these.
Let me see.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Are you kidding me?
Good Lord.
Can I see how much is in your basket? Whoa, that's your basket's almost full. You don't need any more. $1. That's not
I have a dollar.
You want to say thanks, Easter Bunny?
Thanks, Easter Bunny.
You're the best.
You're the best.
What are those carrots that the bunny ate? What do they taste like?
Bunny breath.
They taste like bunny breath.
Mm-hmm.
What does bunny breath taste like?
Bunny breath. Bunny breath means with the bunny that brush his teeth.
He didn't brush his teeth before he ate your carrots?
Mm-hmm.
That's silly bunny.
What's going on? Are those the Easter Bunny's shoes? They're cute shoes. Aren't the bunny's shoes cute?
Oh, you're a kid.
You're a kid.
You're busted. Give it up.
Right? And a belly and a butt.
Right.
It's him? What is that?
That's a poop in the body.
That's a reason.
I like Easter eggs because they are so hard and they don't break.
You just broke it.
Adela, were you eating chocolate?
No.
You weren't having any chocolate?
No.
You weren't just eating the chocolate out of your Easter basket?
No.
You promise?
Promise.
Hey, look me in the eye. Do you promise?
Promise.
And how did you get chocolate on your face?
I did not get that today on my face.
Yes, you did.
Oh.
Can you get it out?
I can't.
There you go, Alicia. There's your peeps.
I like the sugar.
Okay, now take a bite. Let me see what you think about those things. Is it delicious? Yeah? No, it's not delicious.
That's exactly what I used to do when I eat peeps too.
No, it tastes delicious.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna have another bite?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Look at what the Easter Bunny came. I got Shredder, the Turtle Man, and Shredder and Raphael. Holy Christmas! This is so crazy. He got it from Ross.
Easter Bunny shops wise.
Say Happy Easter. Say Happy Easter. Eva, Happy Easter, everybody. That was not coffee. Happy birthday, everybody. What is it?
That last little one reminded me of Hazel, Alicia's little one. She's cute.
What is it? Poop. It's an Easter bunny. Poop. Poop. It's an Easter bunny. Poop. 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 It's an Easter bunny. Poop.
You ate all the candy, but you're sorry. How many did you eat?
A lot.
How many? Like 2?
No. Just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just eat 10.
That's a lot of candy, Scarlett.
Yes. I just eat a lot. I don't know why.
She's so sweet.
Blue bunnies to make you help.
Oh God, I remember them days.
And it shoots water at you.
Really?
Chuck.
Yeah. And you gotta do, I guess, on your feet and the way.
It is so messy.
It is.
Nobody.
Nobody?
No.
You just came out here all by yourself? Wow.
What are you?
Oh my God. You're kidding me. Baby pigtails kill me. I love them. She's adorable. Where are you? Like, I got baby fever so bad.
What is there?
Eggs.
Oh my gosh.
We go out there and then pick them up.
We'll have to call Grandma first. We're gonna wait for Daddy to take a shower.
Okay. I will tell Daddy.
What did you get? One of the eggs?
A chocolate sock.
Where's the chocolate sock?
How do you like Easter so far?
So I got these.
Do you like it? Do you like it so far?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. You like the confetti in your hair?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
A dinosaur.
Let me see. What is it?
A
A
dinosaur.
dinosaur.
Oh! Ow.
Chrissy, what did you get in your egg? Who's this guy? What's his name?
Daddy.
You think he looks like Daddy?
How is her backpack?
Hey, it's a backpack. That's Jesus.
No, it is. It's her backpack.
His name is Jesus, right?
No, it's her backpack.
What's his name?
Daddy,
We gotta crack the eggs.
can I crack it?
Sure, you can crack that one.
So you go first.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. What have you done?
Hey!
I'm not delicious.
It's not delicious.
It's not delicious to mommy.
They're very delicious.
No.
What's delicious?
Chocolate.
What is that? A what?
A bunny.
A bunny. A chocolate bunny?
Bunny. Oh,
What is it?
it's a billet.
What is it, buddy?
It's metal.
It's mail?
Yeah.
It's money.
It's money. Money.
Say thank you, Grandma.
Thank you, Grandma. It's hatching. It's hatching. Oh no, it hatched.
It hatched.
What's inside?
What's inside?
It's hatching. It's cheese. Cheese. It's cheese.
What's in your mouth?
Oh, it's the egg.
How many Easter eggs?
You thought that was cheese, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They didn't teach him that it's not Anyway.
Should have said that's not cheese, right?
Are in there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
Were you being naughty getting the Easter eggs?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Did you ask Grandmama if you could have the Easter eggs?
Mhm.
No, you didn't. How many I gave you? I gave you 3. And how many did you eat?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
I know.
I got them out of the box.
No more. You got them out of the box? Mm-hmm.
Candy's evil. But he only.
Look there. Oh, 2 of them.
What? Are you crazy?
He's crazy.
Again?
He hopped up there.
You can't reach up there.
Timmy, and more junk food?
I don't know.
Mr. Bunny, you will go bye-bye.
You don't want them in our house?
Mr. Bunny, no,
Easter Bunny.
Fingers. Say hi, can you say hi him?
Can you say hi to him?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He helped me.
You want me to help you?
Mr. Bunny.
Yeah. Usually he'll come when you're asleep.
Okay. Mr. Bunny don't get my baby Moana.
No, he won't take your baby Moana.
Mr. Bunny, you get the egg?
Yeah, he'll drop eggs off in our house and he'll eat candy probably.
Tyler's not scared of Mr. Bunny.
No, he's not scared of Mr. Bunny.
Not David, not Dizzy, not Conan, not all this thing.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Bunny don't eat the doggy.
Yeah, he won't eat the doggy.
She's beyond adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's inside the eggs.
I'm rich.
How much is it?
$1.
All right, what did you find?
20
20. I think it was
$20.
Oh, wow, you're rich.
I wish.
Right, lunch today.
Something good here. Maybe money. I want money. Jackson, you can't steal my money, my coins, or the dollars, or my eggs so bad.
Why are you mad at him?
Because he stole one of my eggs, stole one of my coins, stole one of my dollars.
Oh, geez.
So that's it. I'm done with him.
She's done with him.
Ew! Sticky toes. Ew!
Oh, that's cute.
Sticky toes.
No, that's from the bunny.
We did that. We do that out in the yard for the little ones.
Those are his.
We plant jelly beans the night before, and the next day when the kids go to wake up or whatever, there's suckers in the yard where the jelly beans were.
Oh,
they grow into
cute.
suckers. So, and we try to make footprints to make it look like bunny feet, but it works. They're happy. It is what it is.
Hop prints. Look at he hopped. Hop, hop, hop. All the way over there.
What? What did you get? What? Oh my God! Really? $25 of Roblox.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Isn't he a little young to be playing Roblox?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, whatever. I guess I didn't think he would understand it.
Right?
No, don't dig. No more digging.
I have no more digging.
No more digging. You found the treasure.
It's raining eggs, Daddy.
It's raining eggs?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh.
There you go, baby.
I'm Easter Bunny. We can have those. They are playing one too. Easter Bunny, please. At Walmart.
What is that?
It's the Cheshire's cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
He's so cute.
No, I just meant like I didn't think that he looked like he was like 3 or 4. I didn't think that he would understand how to like do the thing, because I know my kids didn't really get on games till they were like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
but
same.
I don't really know much about the game, so I just got all my Easter baskets. Yeah, that's what they're all doing, and dyeing eggs and getting all that stuff ready.
What are you going to tell the Easter Bunny when you see him?
And then in a smartwatch.
I want M&Ms and a smartwatch. This kid was what, 3? Good Lord.
Yeah, I'm not looking for cash. Put it back in the house.
That's the Easter Bunny did that. The Easter Bunny came. I love you.
No, Easter cake thing.
It's the Easter Beagle. We'll be watching that tonight with the grandkids.
Kid, like you.
I love Snoopy.
Snoopy's awesome.
100%.
Money in it.
What do you say?
Thank you.
What you doing, Nora?
I said
What do you have there? What is it?
hexagon.
A hexagon. You're coloring eggs.
What?
It is a hexagon.
Wow.
Okay.
Right? It's a hexagon. Jesus, these kids are smart.
Mm-hmm.
And you are right.
Can you count some of our Easter eggs we colored? Count them for me.
1, 2, 3. 7 in here. 7's in here.
Something's in there. Is it going to hatch? We'll keep counting. 3, 4.
7's hatching in here.
I hope it's not hatching now because it's been cooked.
7's hatching.
No, don't touch them. Are you going to count them all for me?
7's hatching out here.
Okay.
Come here.
I hope not.
Me.
You're hatching?
That's hatching.
Uh-oh. But we've already cooked it and colored it. Is there a purple? No, don't.
What'd you do?
Okay, that's gonna do it for today, guys. Sorry I went over a little longer than I wanted to. That Nancy's big I'm so irritated with that today. Sorry everyone for that, by the way. And Mama Bear, thank you for being here with us as well. Everybody in chat, you guys are amazing. I don't know. Well, tonight, later on, I'm planning on being here if everything goes right for the weird, creepy, unexplained, and scary Saturday nights. We're going to be covering swamp monsters and things along those lines. If you guys are interested in that stuff, hopefully it'll be later on because I got a lot of crap I got to do, guys. So thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you all so much. If I don't see you, I hope you have an amazing and wonderful Easter. I will see you guys. I won't be here tomorrow because I just won't be. My family would kill me if I did this tomorrow until maybe later tomorrow night or something. But if I don't see you at all, I'll see you guys Monday. And please have the best, absolute best Easter you guys possibly can. Much love to all of you guys. Mods, of course, I'll talk to you here shortly. But everybody else, you have an amazing, amazing day. God bless. Much love. And I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great weekend and a great Easter. And I will see you guys Monday.
Life's a journey. Let's make every moment shine. Together we share our hearts so intertwined. Each time you tune in, we're dancing in sync. With every story told, just let your soul think. A little laughter, some love, we're flying high. As we wrap up this episode, it's not goodbye. News on the airwaves, spreading joy and cheer. Thanks for being with us, we'll see you right here. Kick back, take a breath, leave your worries behind. This podcast is magic, a treasure you'll find. With every moment shared, we light up the way. Join us next time for more laughs and play. A little laughter, some love, we're flying high. As we wrap up this episode, it's not goodbye. News on the airwaves, spreading joy and cheer. Thanks for being with us, we'll see you right here. Kick back, take a breath, leave your worries behind. This podcast is magic, a treasure you'll find. With every moment shared, we light up the way. us next time for more laughs and play. So hit that subscribe, keep the vibe alive. We're riding this wave and it's set to thrive. With smiles all around, let's seize the day. In this podcast family, worries drift away. A little laughter, some love, we're flying high. As we wrap up this episode, it's not goodbye. News on the airwaves, spreading joy and cheer. Thanks for being with us, we'll see you right here. So gather round friends, it's time to reflect. In this joyful moment, what's next to connect? Let's cherish the laughter, the joy that we spread. Together we'll thrive until our hearts are fed. See you next time with stories anew. Can't wait to share more with all of you. So hit that subscribe, keep the vibe alive. We're riding this wave and it's set to thrive. With smiles all around, let's seize the day. In this podcast family, worries drift away. So hit that subscribe, keep the vibe alive. We're riding this wave and it's set to thrive. With smiles all around, let's seize the day. In this podcast family, worries drift away. So gather round friends, it's time to reflect. In this joyful moment, what's next to connect? Let's cherish the laughter, the joy that we spread. Together we'll thrive until our hearts are fed. See you next time with stories anew. Can't wait to share more with all of you. See you next time with stories anew.